Hey guys, welcome to my second ever script read through here on the channel. This is something that I've done before in the past about a year ago with the screenplay that I wrote for an alternate Star Wars Episode 1. And it's just something natural. I like writing screenplays and I always have a lot of fun with it, but I never have anybody to really show my screenplays to, other than a couple of close friends. I, of course, write screenplays and short films for my friends, but when I'm kind of in a little bit of a writing slump and I don't know what to write next with an original idea, I usually take an idea like a book or a story that I've seen or I like, a comic book character such as this, and basically play around in that ball field. I mean, obviously, I can't do anything with these scripts. They're just, ideas that I have. I can't sell these to anybody because I don't own these characters, but it gets my creative juices flowing a little bit, and I just kind of like doing it. It's fun and it's good practice because I can definitely say that through writing stuff like this, I have become a better writer. I've worked better with structure and character development and just dialogue in general. And I always wanted to write a Superman script. I mean, that's something that's always felt like something really fun to do. I've attempted doing it in the past, but uh, nothing ever came through with it. But this time, I sat down and I wrote a Superman script and I gave myself some guidelines. I basically wanted to create a Superman script that was a fresh, new take, that was lighthearted and fun, short and sweet, and set up a larger universe similar to how Man of Steel did or that the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, except for DC, obviously. And so that's what this is here. Now, I have had this for a while. I wrote it about a year ago, and what we are reading today is actually going to be the expanded edition, as you can see here on the screen right here. Basically, this is an enhanced edition that I've basically taken some scenes that originally wasn't in the original draft, things that I wanted to add into it, and put in just to add some more clarity and clear some scenes up. Now, I will say right off the bat that this script is not perfect. As I'm reading through it, there are going to be probably many spelling errors. I've attempted to get them throughout the past year, but they always creep up. There might be plot inconsistencies from where I've added new stuff. I was just looking through it, and there are some stuff like that. But for the most part, we are here to be entertained and just kind of share my own kind of stories and everything for you guys. I think it's just something really fun to do. So, anyway, let's get started now. This is going to be a read through and commentary of the script. So if you want to just listen to the script, then I'm going to be putting kind of time codes throughout so that you can clearly listen to what the story is supposed to be. But I mostly want to do this because I want to talk about why I made certain decisions that I did, because I think that's the most interesting part of screenwriting. It's not just how good the story is and how entertaining it is, but what were the decisions made to make this come to life. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. So this is going to be a very long video. Not sure how long it's going to be, but we'll see along the way. Now, I do have some water with me. I'll probably be taking a few breaks here and there. But, yeah, let's get started. So we got Superman Extended Edition, or Expanded Edition. Screenplay by Jared Ross, that's me, based on characters created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. Um, First draft, as you can see, was dated 6/16/2020. Um, Close to a year that this script has been made. Okay, so starting off with page 1, Krypton, space. Pan down to the ancient planet of Krypton, slowly being absorbed into the massive red giant towering over it. The screams and yells of its people echo throughout the hollowness of space, yet hope for the planet remains as a small spacecraft darts from the dying planet and escapes destruction. It zooms into the outer reaches of the universe, leaving its planet of origin to die. Now, far away, Krypton reaches total destruction as it is crushed by the red giant and is no more. Countless galaxies. The small spacecraft zooms along, alone in a wide open universe, traversing through countless other galaxies, passing by planets, moons, and other wonders of the world. Earth, space. The little blue planet of Earth sits swirling in space, the moon close by, standing as a sentinel over the Earth. Out from the darkness of space, the small spacecraft zooms through at top speeds, leaving a streak across the backdrop of stars as the music begins to swell. Cornfield, Smallville, day. An older couple drive down an old country road in an old pickup truck, passing by large cornfields, listening to the radio. All at once, the radio starts to freak out with weird static. The music ramps up. The small spacecraft breaks through the sky at top speeds, racing for the cornfield down below. It reaches downward, ready to make landfall. Then, with a massive crash, it touches down in the cornfield below as we hard cut to opening credits. The Superman logo fills the black screen with musical accompaniment to follow. Interior train day. Close up on Clark Kent, 30s. A tall, muscular young man in a nice clean suit that looks completely new. His black rimmed glasses offsetting his crystal clear eyes underneath. He awakens from a dream, jerking upwards and looking at his surroundings sleepily. He looks directly in front of him to see a little boy in the seat in front of him, staring at him with curious eyes. Clark notices him and simply smiles and waves at the little boy, friendly-like. The boy smiles and shies away from him and turns back around. Clark slouches back down in his seat and keeps a wide smile on his face. Alright, so first off, I want to talk a little bit about the opening, first page of this script. So, obviously, my Superman script is a origin story of sorts, starting off with Superman escaping Krypton. And I gave myself some guidelines with this. I wanted to be a little bit different than other adaptations have done, such as Man of Steel and Superman the movie, because they spend a lot of time on Krypton to really delve into those characters there and do a lot of setup for the rest of the movie. Well, everybody knows Superman's origin story at this point, and I mean, you can do different stuff with it, but it often gets kind of cluttered. So I wanted to simplify it as much as I possibly could, and I gave myself, one page to tell the entire origin story, or, the main beats of it. And so I was able to tell Krypton explodes, the ship escapes with Kal-El on it, and it falls down on Earth where Pa and Ma Kent are to pick up the child. And then we cut to the opening credits of the movie, the Superman logo. I think it's a nice, sweet way to begin the story without giving any dialogue of any kind. And also, after the credits, we obviously cut to a much older Clark Kent in his 30s on a train to Metropolis. So basically, this is kind of like a little callback to Superman Birthright, which is heavily influenced in this script. Superman Birthright, to me, is one of the greatest Superman stories ever. It's the quintessential Superman origin story. and I wanted to pay homage to it as much as I could by borrowing things from it, such as this, where it cuts from Superman falling to Earth and then cuts to modern day when he's a lot older. Man of Steel actually did something like this at the beginning of the movie, where it cuts from the ship falling on Earth to Superman on the boat. So, continuing on, flashback, living room, Kent house, day. Jonathan Kent, 60s, and Martha Kent, 60s. Stand in the living room, getting situated, and look towards the foot of the stairs. All right, we're ready. Come on down, Clark, says Jonathan. Heavy steps come from the stairs as Clark comes down them and stands at the foot of the stairs in the same suit he was seen in earlier. Well, what do you think? Martha smiles at her son and proceeds to get choked up. What do I think? I love it. You look real sharp, son, says Jonathan. Clark looks at the suit, flexing his muscles around that are clearly showing through the suit. It's not too small, is it? Asks Clark. No, not at all. Martha comes over to him and starts trying to fix his crooked tie. This tie's a little crooked, though. It's fine, Martha, says Jonathan. Martha looks up at her son with glassy eyes holding back tears. I always knew this day would come, but I didn't think it would be this hard to say goodbye. He's not saying goodbye. Clark's gonna come back sooner or later, says Jonathan. Clark laughs. Every Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And my birthday, your father's, and your birthday, says Martha. Clark stops his mom from fixing his tie. Mom, I will. I promise. She's just real proud of you, Clark. We both are. Jonathan comes over to Martha and stands in front of his towering son. Now, Metropolis is a big place, son. It's not Smallville, but you know that. Just don't forget who you are and where you come from. Clark looks at Jonathan, who looks as if he might cry. I won't. Now, give your dad a big hug, says Jonathan. Jonathan and Clark embrace each other for a beat, letting it all sink in. You were meant for great things, Clark. Just don't get into any trouble while you're up there in the big city. Don't worry. I don't plan to, says Clark. Here. You don't want to forget these. Martha pulls out a pair of glasses and sets them on Clark's face. There. Now no one will be able to recognize you. I don't think that's how that works, says Clark. Hush. They look good on you. Clark walks away and grabs his suitcase. Now, you sure you have everything? Asks Jonathan. I think so. I guess if I forget anything, I could always fly back. Clark walks over to the front door as if he's about to walk out, and then he finally turns around and looks at both his parents smiling at him with tears about to fall. I'm really going to miss you guys. Flash forward. All right, so just to stop a little bit for this scene, to me this is a really important scene for earlier on in the screenplay because it sets up not only Clark as a character, but Martha and Jonathan Kent. And we see that this is taking place before the events of the train scene. Clark is obviously preparing to leave home to go to the big city of Metropolis. And there's a few key things in here that I really like. One of them that's a bit personal. But I like the little bit of family banter that we get between these characters. They really do seem like a family. They're playing off of each other really well. I like how, Martha is the one that's, upset that her son's leaving and Jonathan's trying to keep it all straight. But even he succumbs to, being sad that his son's leaving too. But I want to get to this little section right here. Says, when Jonathan says, now Metropolis is a big place, son. It's not Smallville, but you know that. Just don't forget who you are and where you come from. That line in particular, don't forget who you are and where you come from, is very important to the scene, and it's a line that's important to me because it's something that my father has told me himself. My dad's big into, my ambitions of wanting to be a filmmaker, a screenwriter, or, just going off to college and, trying to make something of my life. And he's always told me, do all that stuff, but never forget who you are and where you come from. And I think that's a really important lesson. And I just kind of added it in here because I think it works for the character of Superman and his relationship with his parents, his earthly parents, that is. But yeah, I think it works here. It adds some weight to the beginning of it. I also like little things here, like don't forget these. Martha gives him some glasses and, to help with his secret identity, which, this is something that everybody has kind of poked fun at. That, how does nobody know that Clark Kent is Superman? Oh, it's the glasses or something. Like, it's comic book logic, but, it was just really fun, and I couldn't pass up making a joke about it that felt genuine, at least. And then also, this little moment here, where he asks, are you sure you have everything? He's like, I think so. I guess if I forget anything, I could always fly back. Get it? Because Superman can fly. But yeah, just a nice little character scene to set up Clark Kent as a character. Gives us some depth into him. But moving forward, train day, there is a loud beep which causes Clark to leave his happy memory. He turns his head to look at the overhead display in the front of the cabin that reads Next Stop Metropolis in big bright letters. Clark takes the time to look out the window of the train as the landscape outside begins to turn to blocky formations of towering skyscrapers. Metropolis Day. The train darts towards the massive city of Metropolis, where towering skyscrapers shine in the sun. The city looks like something straight out of the science fiction. Close on a large blimp in the sky outside the city with the LexCorp logo on it. It reads on a display screen, Welcome to Metropolis, the city of tomorrow. Exterior train station day. The train comes to a stop and the train car doors open up with a pressurized swoosh. The train passengers walk out of the train, pushing through. Clark comes out of the train with the rest of the crowd, ducking his head before exiting with a briefcase in hand. As he walks to the exit, he sees the little boy along with the mother of the little boy. The little boy turns around to look back at Clark as he waves goodbye to him. Clark does the same as the two separate. Crosswalk. Clark walks through the overly crowded streets of Metropolis with hundreds of other men and women going to work. Daily Planet. Clark walks up to a large building that looks up to it. The building towers high in the sky, and up at the very top is a massive golden globe that reads Daily Planet. Clark turns back down to ground level and walks through the revolving doors of the building. So to quickly stop here, just to mention some little things. I liked this whole idea of us seeing Clark's first interaction with going into Metropolis. We see that, it's a rather large city, and I always like this idea of him arriving by train into it. And I also like the idea of, Metropolis is the city of tomorrow. It's the place of the man of tomorrow, and so Metropolis is this kind of futuristic city of sorts. I kind of like that idea. It's almost something out of a science fiction, as I say in the script, but then the Daily Planet is like this older building that's like from an older time, and I kind of like that because, Daily Planet is like a newspaper place, and newspapers are just kind of, not as big as they once were. It's part of an older age. So, lobby, Daily Planet. Clark enters a large open lobby with men and women walking every which way and up in their respective offices. Clark finds the receptionist's desk and walks over to it, where he is met by a young receptionist. Clark, clearing his throat. Excuse me, ma'am. I have a meeting with Mr. White. I was wondering if you could... Receptionist interrupting. Mr. White's on the 50th floor. Elevators are that way. She points with a pencil disinterestedly. Clark looks at the elevators on the other side of the lobby, carrying people up. Thank you. Clark stands in front of the elevator doors and presses the button to go up. At that moment, a young, skinny man stands directly beside him with a camera slung around his neck. This is Jimmy Olsen, 20s. They stand there waiting an awkward amount of time for the elevator to come down to their level. Clark impatiently presses the button 2 more times. Yeah, they really could install a couple more elevators in this place. Jimmy turns to look up at Clark, a little confused. Do I know you? I don't know you, do I? Asks Jimmy. I don't think so. Clark Kent. Clark extends a hand and they both shake. Clark. Oh, Clark! You're the new guy Mr. White's been talking about. Does Mr. White usually talk about his new workers with everyone? I mean, sometimes, but you don't usually get guys all the way from Kansas up here. The elevator dings and opens up as a few people walk out, and Clark and Jimmy and a few others flood inside. Elevator, Daily Planet. Everyone stands cramped together in the elevator with Clark and Jimmy standing side by side in the front. I'm afraid I didn't get your name. Huh? Oh, it's Jimmy Olsen. Well, pleased to meet you, Jimmy. Clark looks down at Jimmy's camera. I guess you take pictures for the Planet. Yeah, I got this job last year. Best one I've had, but I'm afraid Mr. White can be a bit tough. I mean, at least he is on me. Not that he'd be tough on you or anything. Sorry. Jimmy sinks back, probably saying a bit too much. Thanks for telling me, Jimmy. Clark looks forward, ending the conversation. Jimmy starts looking at Clark's physique. So, are you like a bodybuilder or something? What? No, I just work out some. From time to time, that is. How much can you bench press? Jimmy asks. The elevator dings and the doors open up to let Clark and Jimmy out. Office, Daily Planet. Clark looks around at the wide open space, a long line of desks with journalists typing away at their computers on the next big story. Come on, Clark, I'll show you to Mr. White's office. Clark turns to Jimmy and follows him through the workplace. So this is just a really fun scene of introducing Jimmy Olsen and Clark in their first meeting. I like that Jimmy is this much younger kid, basically, that he's a little awkward. Maybe he says a bit too much, doesn't know exactly when to stop talking, and, is just really kind of buddying up with Clark because he's the new guy, and I don't know. I just like their exchanges. It's really fun. It's nice, quippy dialogue, I think, at least. But Perry's office, Daily Planet day. Perry White, 60s, sits at his desk in rolled up sleeves and a head of hair turning gray. He looks directly at an ace reporter of his, Lois Lane, 30s, a determined young woman who sits on the other side. Come on, Perry, give me something. That's going to challenge me for once. Why should I, Lois? You're good at what you do. Yeah, with robberies and drug busts, but that's in literally every newspaper around the world. It doesn't get people reading. This is why Gotham Gazette is still ahead of us. Gotham Gazette has something to report on. Perry, if you want to sell papers like you did back in the day, you need to give the people a reason to read it. Back in the day? How old do you think I am? At least 70? Perry looks at Lois dumbfounded. The awkward moment is broken up as Jimmy opens the door and enters, followed by Clark. Mr. White, Clark Kent's here to see you. Lois looks up at Clark and eyes him all over, surprised and kind of delighted by what she sees. Well, hello there. Clark looks at her and smiles nervously. Thanks, Olsen, says Perry. Jimmy walks out of the office. Lois, this is Clark Kent, our newest asset. Clark Kent, Lois Lane. I didn't know Kansas built them like that. What were you expecting, a country boy in a flannel shirt? Lois laughs. Maybe. Lois, leave us, says Perry. Do I get a better story, she asks. Perry sighs. Find me a good story worth printing, then we'll talk. Lois gets up and walks out, but not before turning around to look at Clark one last time. See you around. Take a seat, kid, says Perry. Clark sits down in the same chair Lois was in. Welcome to the Daily Planet, Clark. I hear you're pretty good with a story, but I don't just need a good story. I need good reporting of that story. Can you do that for me? Yes, sir. I hope to God you're one of those no-nonsense kind of reporters. Jesus, I've had enough of those guys in my career. Are you a no-nonsense kind of guy? I would hope so, sir. You seem like a good kid, Clark. The sir. I like that. Not enough people use it around here. Nice to see a guy with manners in this place. My parents taught me right, I guess. They did. Good for them. Well, I already had them prepare a desk for you. You can get straight to it. Of course, says Clark. Clark gets up. What exactly am I working on? What did you report on in your school paper? Sports, mostly. Sports. Sounds good to me. Do well with that, I'll promote you to something better. Now, get out of here. Yes, sir. Clark walks out of the room. Okay, I like this scene a lot. We get our introduction to Lois Lane, basically. First a little bit. Obviously, Act 1, we're getting introduced to all our characters, but it's, it's Clark meeting them for the first time. We get introduced to Lois and Perry first. We see how they work off of each other. Lois is wanting to prove herself as a reporter by telling just a really incredible story. And, Perry's like, she's a good reporter. She doesn't have to prove herself. I like this line where, she's thinks Perry's obviously older than he actually is. And then I like the little stuff with Lois. Like, I didn't know Kansas built them like that because, Clark is obviously this big, massive guy. And it's not who she expected, obviously. And I like this banter between Perry and Clark as they learn a little bit about each other. We see how Perry works. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy, which is why he's probably a little angry at points. But some other stuff here that's just kind of funny. You don't usually just go to your job and not know what you're supposed to be doing, but, comic book world doesn't really matter. But I also like there's a little nod to the Gotham Gazette showing that Superman exists in the same world as Batman. I wanted to establish that early on because this is supposed to be part of a larger universe overall. Okay, office, Daily Planet. Clark walks over to an empty desk with a computer and sets down his things and sits down. He swivels in the chair for a moment and starts to boot up the computer. Across from him, Lois looks over at him from her own desk, looking at him with a quizzical look as if she's trying to understand him. Jimmy jumps on over to Clark's desk with an excited mood. Everything set up all right for you, Clark? Yes, Jimmy. Well, if you need anything, I'll just be over there. Jimmy points toward the complete other side of the room. Then, at that very moment, a news report appears on the TV, and everyone looks up at the massive TV mounted on the wall. Perry even comes out of his office to watch. News reporter says, "This just in from Metropolis News. It appears a carjacking has led to a full-on police chase through downtown Metropolis. Citizens are advised to please clear the streets until the carjackers are apprehended." The news report ends. Perry looks out to all of them and then turns to Jimmy. "Olsen, get down there and take some pictures. On it." Jimmy gets up and rushes toward the exit with his camera. Lois raises her hand with pen in hand. "Permission to get down there and report on the chase?" "Sure, do whatever you want." Lois looks extremely giddy and picks up her things to take with her. "I promise you, Perry, you won't be disappointed." Perry looks over at Clark's empty desk, confused as Lois gathers her things. Hey, where the hell is Kent? Streets of Metropolis. A large green car races down the streets, newspapers and trash flying everywhere as it cuts a corner and runs into trash cans. Police cars fly down the road after them. Police car interior. Two policemen sit together in their car racing down the road after the green car. Policeman number 1 into his radio. I want everyone on that car now. Let's get this over with. Jimmy walks out onto the sidewalk with camera in hand as he snaps a picture of the passing green car and the police. He looks at his camera to examine the picture as a red streak flashes down the street and disappears. Jimmy is unaware of all of it. The green car continues to fly down the street with police still in hot pursuit. It flies by a long black limousine and smashes against it. Black limo, day interior. The inside of the limo shakes back and forth roughly as a very angry Lex Luthor, 40s, sits upright and looks out the window furiously. Hey, asshole! Lex watches as police cars fly past his limo. Luthor's limo driver looks through the mirror back at Luthor. Mr. Luthor, are you all right? Asks the limo driver. Yes, follow that car. Streets of Metropolis. The black limo drives off as we return to the car chase unfolding. Green car interior. The two carjackers continue driving recklessly down the road. One looks back at the cops pursuing them. So, was getting this car worth it? Shut up. We'll get through this. They continue to drive as more police congregate behind them. We're not losing them. Maybe we shouldn't have done this. Maybe we need to relax. I've been running from cops all my life. Maybe you should rethink your line of work, says Superman off screen. The two carjackers look at each other confused and then shocked as they look through the front windshield and the car seems to be lifting off the air. Lifting off into the air. A crowd gathers in the streets with oohs and ahs as they look at the amazing feat. A man in red and blue tights and a flowing red cape stands under the green car, carrying it with both hands with literal ease. Interior police car. The cops look with amazement. What the hell is that? I think it's a man, sir. Streets of Metropolis. Superman flies above the streets holding the green car above his head. Lois makes her way through the crowd of people to get her first glimpse at the flying man. The limo drives up and comes to a stop. The moon roof of the limo opens up and Luthor climbs out to look at what's going on. Superman lands on the ground and with the green car lifted over his head, it evokes the classic image from Action Comics #1. He puts the car down on the ground and the carjackers look completely terrified. Superman opens up the door and looks at both of them. Now, if I were you, I'd just go ahead and turn myself in and save the police the trouble of chasing you down again. The police come to a screeching halt. Superman turns his head around as they arrive on the scene and have their guns ready to possibly fire at the carjackers as well as Superman himself. You can put your guns down, officers. They're yours now. Superman looks at the scared carjackers. Cuff them. Looking at policeman 2. What about he asks. He nudges his head towards Superman. You don't have to worry about me, officers. Just helping you all out. In the crowd, someone claps as Superman's heroic deed and everyone follows as well as cheers. Superman looks around at them all and smiles, appreciating the applause. From the roof of his limo, Luthor begins to clap as well, very slowly. Superman notices him and gives yet another smile. From the crowd, Jimmy zooms in on Superman and snaps a picture. Superman lifts off into the sky above and disappears from view. Office Daily Planet Day. Clark is busy typing away at his computer as people rush back into the room. Lois comes through and stops center frame in front of Clark. She looks with total amazement. Have you ever been so amazed by something you don't have the words to describe it? Lois looks down at Clark as he looks up to her, looking completely clueless. What are you talking about, Lois? What am I talking about? Where have you been? A flying man just stopped that carjacking down there. She points to the large TV screen. Clark looks up and fits his glasses to his face to look at the screen better. On the TV screen, filmed footage of Superman flying with the green car down the street plays. Oh wow, you don't get the oh wow, you don't see that every day. Clark says, shocked. You see a flying man for the first time, and that's the best you can do? You're something, Smallville. Perry rushes into the room from his own office and looks directly at Lois. Lois, I want you on the Flying Man. Already on it, Perry. Good. Finally, something out there that will sell papers. Perry tries looking out the window, hoping he might catch a glance at the Flying Man. Where's Olsen? Right here, sir. Jimmy rushes through to reach Perry, camera in hand. Did you get it? Did you get a picture of him? Yes, Mr. White. He walks over to Perry and clicks through the pictures he's taken. Lois comes over to look at them as well. Perry looks really surprised and giddy about the pictures. I love it. People are going to love it even more. Good job, Olsen. Lois looks closely at the small picture of the man in blue and looks at the crested S on his chest. What do you think the S stands for? She asks. Well, what else would it stand for? He's super. Call him Superman. Clark sits at his desk typing on the computer, and a smile crosses his face from everyone's reaction to Superman. Alright, so there's a lot to unpack here. Basically, I wanted to have Superman's first introduction to the world be the exact same day that Clark enters Metropolis. And I thought it would be a nice idea to give a little nod to Action Comics #1 with Superman carrying the green car over his head. It's just such a iconic image that, is ingrained in pop culture. And I just felt like it needed to be referenced, especially since this is Superman's first appearance in this movie, and that's Superman's first appearance in the comics. I also like here we get introduced to Lex Luthor very quickly, very angry because they scratch up his car, the carjackers do, and we see Superman saving the day and how everybody reacts to him, and I like this little thing when we get back to the Daily Planet. Perry is like, oh man, finally, we have something that will sell papers. Papers are going to be coming back pretty big. And just this little nod of, what do you think the S stands for? Perry's like, well, we'll call him Superman. So, Superman doesn't obviously call himself Superman. That's what the media is going to call him. So, I like that little sequence of scenes. It's just fun, lighthearted. I like how Superman talks kind of jokingly to the robbers, and his interaction with the police. Like, he's obviously on the same side, but they're not quite sure at first. Okay, so flashback. Kent Farm, day. Establishing shot of the Kent Farm, a small, modest house in a large, picturesque red barn stuck in the middle of nowhere of Kansas, surrounded by fields upon fields of corn. Dad, can you please tell me what this is all about? Says Clark. Interior, barn. A younger Jonathan and Clark, age 13, walk inside the large barn. Jonathan digs through some loose straw on the ground, searching for something. There's something your mom and I have been wanting to show you when you were old enough. Jonathan pulls open a secret hatch leading into an underground cellar. In the cellar? Clark asks. Jonathan turns on a flashlight and looks over at Clark. He tosses Clark a flashlight as well. Come on, there's something I think you need to see. Interior cellar. Clark follows Jonathan down the steps into the cellar, where a large tarp is in the center of the room, covering something rather large. Jonathan stands by it as if it is what he's been wanting to show Clark. What is it? Asks Clark. See for yourself. Clark pulls the tarp off whatever lies underneath, and it is revealed to be a small piece of the small spacecraft. Clark looks in awe. The small ship lights up as Clark places his hand on it. Clark is taken aback by this, confused, and moves away from it. What is this? This is where we found you, Clark. This is where you come from. What? This? I don't understand. Jonathan walks closer to Clark. What I'm trying to say is, you're not from here, Clark. You never were. Clark shakes his head, not knowing what to say. No, that's not true. I'm your son. I'm your son. And you are my son, Clark. He holds his son close. You crashed here on that, and your mother and I rescued you from the wreckage, and we raised you as our son. I tried to salvage what I could, but somebody else got to it first. The government, most likely. But you're someone else's son out there. All these things you can do, all those powers you can do them because you're not from here. Then where am I from? Why am I here? I can't answer that. I hope someday you'll know why, but right now, I don't have an answer. So what am I? Some alien? Clark says in tears. You're as human as any of us. You bleed red like us, you look like us. You're my son, Clark. Sooner or later, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to decide what to do. I can't make that decision for you, but I know you'll make the best possible decision you can make. Because I raised you. Flash forward. Office, Daily Planet, day. Clark continues to smile at his desk, reminiscing and thinking about the past as everyone else is gathered around the TV or the windows in search of Superman. So real quick, this scene is another flashback to kind of detail Superman's backstory. I kind of did this in the vein of Batman Begins and Man of Steel. Sort of, because I think it's a good way of getting some exposition out of the way while also progressing the story, and you're not just seeing the origin story like through and through like Superman the movie. Just seeing little glimpses of his life, and I thought this was a very important scene, and it's a scene that even Man of Steel did, where Clark sees the ship for the first time, and Clark and Jonathan have this conversation about, whose son is he really? And there's this real heart-to-heart between them. It's a very similar scene to Man of Steel, but I think that scene in Man of Steel is so good that I obviously kind of was influenced by it during this. And I like this idea that, Jonathan's like, you're going to have to make a decision as, what you're going to be doing with your life. And I can't make that for you because obviously, I'm your father, obviously, but, you're something more. But yeah, I think it's a good heart-to-heart scene. Just some good character moments to really develop Clark and his relationship with his family. Okay, so Office, Daily Planet, night. The office is mostly empty now, with only a few people still at their desks working or packing up to go home. Clark packs up his things and turns to Jimmy, who is also packing up. Lois grabs her things and is about ready to head out. Night, Jimmy. See you tomorrow, Lois. Lois looks at Clark suspiciously. Night, Clark. What a first day, right? Well, it was something. And with that, Lois leaves the office. Hey, Jimmy, do you have a place I could crash at until I find a place? Well, sure, Clark, if you don't mind sleeping on a couch for a while. Clark laughs. I'll take it. Sure. Let me just finish up here and we'll head on out. I appreciate it, says Clark. Jimmy's apartment, night. Jimmy opens up the door to a dark room and flips on the light switch to reveal a small apartment. Clark walks in behind Jimmy and just looks around the small little cramped apartment, which includes a living room with a couch and TV, a kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom. I can get you some sheets for the couch. You can watch TV if you want to. Sorry, it's a little cramped. I plan on getting a bigger place at some point. It's all good, Jimmy. How long do you plan on staying? Asks Jimmy. At least until I can find a place of my own. Well, you're always welcome here. Jimmy yawns. Let me get your sheets and I'm heading to bed. Jimmy is about to walk into his bedroom and turns back to Clark. Who do you think that guy was today? I'm not sure. Well, I hope we haven't seen the last of him. A guy like that could do some real good around here. Well, maybe we'll see him again. Yeah, maybe so. Interior Jimmy's apartment later that night. Clark lays back on the couch, his arms crossed behind his head as he looks up at the ceiling and can't help but smile. Well, Dad, I've made my decision, Clark says to himself. Let's see. So I'll stop there for a sec just to say Clark went to Metropolis first day there, and he didn't think that maybe he should have a place to stay before he started his job. I'm just saying, it's one of those little nitpicks that you can come up with. Obviously, I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but I like this idea, though, that Clark is crashing with Jimmy, the first kind of friend that he made at the Daily Planet, even though it is the first day. But it adds for, just there's something sweet about Clark's character, but he's also kind of bumbling a little bit and everything. And then I like this last little bit where, he's like, well, Dad, I've made my decision. Like, he's decided I am going to do some good. And that ties back into the scene previously where, Jimmy says, a guy like that could really do some good around here. And that's exactly what he's going to do. So then we fade to newsreel. A front page headline for the Daily Planet flies towards the screen with an image of Superman holding the green car in the position like Action Comics #1. The title of the article, written by Lois Lane, says Reign of the Superman. Dissolved to newsstand. People grab copies of the Daily Planet and start reading about Superman on the front page. People congregate together and discuss with each other, wondering who he is and why he is here. Perry's office, Daily Planet, day. Perry lays down the newspaper on his desk. He looks over at Lois standing right across from him. He taps his finger down on the paper. Now that's good reporting, Lois. Damn fine reporting. Give me more stuff like this and we'll be able to bring newspapers back in a big way. But he hasn't shown himself since. No one's seen him since the incident. He'll be back. He saved the day once. He'll try saving it again. I want to know who he is, though. If you can somehow get an interview with him, now that would be something really special. Like, that will happen. You never know. But keep up the good work, Lois. You're the best reporter we have. You're damn right I am. Bar. Clark is sitting at the bar watching the TV as the big game starts playing on the TV. He takes a swig from a bottle as he pays close attention. At that very moment, Lois runs in and sits down 2 stools down from Clark. She looks at the bartender as she lays her things down. The usual for me, Bib. She turns and spots Clark. Well. I wasn't expecting to see you in here, Smallville. Can't say I was expecting you either. He grins. Okay. Lois decides to sit beside Clark instead. Here you go, Lois, says the bartender. The bartender gives Lois a drink. So, I'm confused. Just how does a guy from the middle nowhere, Kansas, end up in the city of tomorrow? My dad taught me I could be anything I wanted when I grew up. So, all things, you decide to be a reporter. Sure, why not? It's what I like to do. I don't know, you just don't seem the type is all. I don't think we should be labeling each other, Lois. Is that right? She says sarcastically. She cracks a smile. I'm just playing with you, but I am going to make fun of you for that non-alcoholic beer. Clark looks at the bottle and takes another swig. It's the taste without any of the hangover. You really are a small town country boy. I guess you could say I'm a bit old fashioned. You could blame my parents for that. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just different, is all. There's not a lot of guys I know with a moral compass like yours, I guess. Clark lifts his bottle and laughs. Hooray for me, then. You never really answer my question. And what's that? Why are you here? Clark sighs. After high school, I thought I'd take some time to figure out just who I wanted to be and who I am. I traveled for a while, came back home, went to university, decided I loved journalism, and now I'm here. That doesn't explain anything to me. I told you why I'm here, though. Well, I guess you did. You're an enigma, for sure, Clark. Maybe one day you'll let me pick that brain of yours. Well, when you do, be gentle. Lois laughs as she finishes her drink. That's supposed to be she lays it down and then hands the bartender some money. Get Mr. Kent here another non-alcoholic. She turns to Clark. See you back at the office. See you there. Clark turns back around as the bartender gives him another bottle. Clark mouths a word of thanks and smiles after his conversation with Lois, and then he begins to think back. Okay, so to quickly cover these few little scenes, I like this whole idea of a newsreel. It's something that was done in like Spider-Man 1 when Spider-Man's first is revealed to the world. So I kind of wanted to do sort of the same thing here with Superman, at least. And the title that Lois Lane writes the article is Reign of the Superman, which is a nod to the storyline Reign of the Supermen, which took place after the death of Superman. Just a nice little nod. But I like this idea that this whole story is causing people to finally get back into reading newspapers and buying them. Perry is obviously happy, and we set up early on that he's like, maybe we can get an interview with Superman at some point, and Lois is like, that'll never happen. But obviously, we know that's going to happen. That's a huge point that happens with the Superman story. Obviously, Lois Lane is going to write about Superman and learn more about him. But my favorite part is this bar scene. Well, first off, we get a reference to Bib, the bartender, who is a character in the comics, just a small little character. But we finally get a scene with just Lois and Clark together as they talk to each other about, who Clark really is. We get some insight. We know that he left at one point to try to figure out who he was. Obviously, there's some things that went on during that time. We see how old-fashioned he is. I really like the joke here that Lois is going to make fun of him for drinking that non-alcoholic beer. And obviously, Clark, being Superman, he isn't going to be... he's not going to be drinking and flying, obviously. So it just shows, how good of a sport he is. He's taking all the precautions he needs to do. And overall, I just think it works for just seeing these two iconic characters working off of each other. But then we go to flashback, interior, barn, night. Jonathan climbs out of the cellar in the barn where Clark, 21, stands waiting for him with a backpack prepared to leave. Jonathan has something in his hand, a piece of Kryptonian technology. Here, you'll need this. He hands it to Clark, who examines it closely, wondering its purpose. What is it? It's the ship's GPS, or at least I think it is. Or that's what it is. If that's to be believed, your ship was supposed to send you to the North Pole, but it found its way here. Thanks, Dad. Clark hugs his dad. Be careful, son. Now, get out of here before your mom knows you're gone. Yes, sir. Thank you for everything. Clark looks as if he might cry. Dissolve to Arctic night. Clark trudges through the snow in the mountains of the Arctic as the wind and snow blow roughly. He looks at the Kryptonian GPS as it beeps loudly. He is nearby. He looks in the direction he needs to go and finds a split in the side of the mountain, perhaps a cave, and walks toward it. Cave. Clark finds the entrance to the cave inside the large mountainside and grabs a glow stick, uses it to light his way as he makes his way inside. Finally, after a slow walk inside, he finds a wall of ice, but the GPS tells him to continue forward. So he does and places his hand flat on the ice wall as it melts away, leading him through into the inside. Fortress of Solitude, night. Clark walks into a massive area made up of crystals. It is unlike anything he has ever seen and completely otherworldly. He looks in amazement as he moves forward. In the center of the main area, he finds a large, technologically advanced computer system. He examines it closely and finds a slot that can fit the Kryptonian GPS inside. He fits it in there, which causes a loud echo through the room. Suddenly, before Clark's own eyes, an image materializes through projection. Towering over him, the figure of a man in strange alien clothing, yet he looks just like him. This is Jor-El. The figure takes a moment and looks down at Clark. "Hello, Kal-El. I am Jor-El. I am your father. By now, no doubt you have grown into manhood and have lived many years among the people of Earth. I hope that in this time they have instilled you with the virtues I know them to be capable of kindness, sincerity, and compassion. You are the last remaining survivor of the planet Krypton, an ancient world far away from the galaxy you reside in now. Oh, how I wish I could have lived to see you grow up and be the man you are today. But alas, I am gone and turned to dust, and you remain as the last son of Krypton. Everything we were lives in you. I am merely the memory of Jor-El, not Jor-El himself, but I will do what I can to guide you, and perhaps together we can learn from each other." "What is this place?" asks Clark. "This is your Fortress of Solitude. Installed here on Earth many centuries ago by Krypton as a safe house. It is yours now to do with as you wish. Here you can learn, rest, and meditate in peace. Is there anything else you wish to ask me?" "Why am I here?" "Our planet was destroyed in a natural disaster brought about by years of neglect. Krypton's destruction was imminent, so your mother and I, as Krypton's last chance for survival, sent you away so that you could thrive and live the life we could not give you." "But why am I here?" he asks. "Earth has always been a peculiar planet to the Kryptonian people. They have managed to build a thriving civilization with so little. They are remarkable, but they need guidance to save them from the corrupt. So I have sent them you. You will be the light they wish to strive for, and you will instill in them hope to guide them through darkness and bring peace to their warring little world." "How do you expect me to do all this? I have all these powers, but I don't know how to use them. Earth's gravity has enhanced your abilities beyond that of any human. You will learn to use them to protect the helpless and downtrodden." "How do you know I can do this?" he asks. "'Cause you are my son." Flash forward. LexCorp night. Establishing shot of a massive skyscraper higher than any of the other buildings in Metropolis. On the building in bright lights shines the name LexCorp. Lab LexCorp night. A large TV screen plays the news footage of Superman saving the day. The screen is then paused just as Superman is about to lift off into the air. Luthor sits there in a chair in a large laboratory filled with high-tech and large machines and computers everywhere. He looks with a quizzical look. "Who are you?" he asks. Luthor zooms up on the frozen image and looks closely at the man in the suit and the S on his chest. Mercy Graves, 30s, comes up behind him, staring at the screen, paying close attention to the figure on it. "Where'd he come from?" she asks. "I don't know. He came from the sky, stopped that carjacker, and that was it. Then he was gone. He's kind of cute." Luthor turns to Mercy with a dumbfounded look and turns back around. "I doubt we've seen the last of him. I'd like to meet him. Imagine it. Lex Luthor, most powerful man in the world, meets the most extraordinary man in the world. Perhaps I should arrange a meeting or perhaps I should arrange a meeting between the two of you. Ha! Good luck finding him. Luthor looks back at the TV screen, staring at the almost alien-like figure of Superman. We'll figure out more about him soon enough. Who he is, where he comes from, and why he's here, and I'll make sure that happens. What are you thinking? She asks. Mercy, I'm thinking he needs a reason to come out. So let's give him a reason. You want to stage a scene? You're right. It sounds crazy, and it is. But just think of the possibilities having a man like that on your side. Alright, so these few little scenes here, we obviously get the flashback scene of Jonathan showing Clark the GPS that will lead him to the Arctic, where the Fortress of Solitude is. Obviously, he's been waiting to give this to him until he was old enough to leave the home, and obviously we see here that Clark is leaving during the night so that he doesn't have to confront his mother and upset her even more, even though him leaving is going to upset her. But I like the short little interaction between them. But then we get to the Arctic and the Fortress of Solitude, and I like this idea that the Fortress of Solitude has been placed here on Earth for centuries, and it's an outpost that Kryptonians had gone to at one point. And we get the introduction of Jor-El as a character, telling Superman basically why he's there, who he is, and what he's been sent there for, and how he can help the people of Earth. And this will be something that will propel, him to do good deeds and everything. So we see that, Krypton was caused by a natural disaster due to years of neglect by the Kryptonian people. And we get this little nice scene, how do you know I can do this? Because you are my son. It's kind of paralleling something that Jonathan Kent said in an earlier scene, you are my son. I think it's great to kind of have the parallels between the two fathers. That's something that Man of Steel did, and I think it did an alright job with it, and I kind of wanted to include that here. But then we flash forward to LexCorp and Lex Luthor, who's kind of mesmerized by Superman. He wants to know who he is, and being one of the most powerful men in the world, he obviously wants this alien on his side to maybe do something to help better the world or something. We're not exactly sure what Lex Luthor is up to at this point. But we also get introduced to his assistant, Mercy Graves, who's a character that I added some more depth with these two characters, and we'll see that continued on throughout the script. But this is kind of their big scene as we move into the second act. So that is basically the end of Act 1 of the script. We are on page 31 now. I'm actually going to get some water, and we'll continue on. Alright, office, Daily Planet, day. Clark is busy typing an article on the computer when Lois grabs her things after leaving Perry's office and looks over at Clark. Hey, Clark, you doing anything? Clark finishes typing, presses enter, and looks up at Lois. Just finishing this article on the game. You want to take a break and come with me? What would Perry say about that? Psh, he'll be fine. Besides, couldn't hurt to see how real reporting's done. Clark looks at Perry's office to see if he's watching him. Well, I guess I could take a break. Where are we going? Clark gets up and walks with Lois towards the exit to the office. Lex Luthor is holding an expose on his newest invention for the betterment of mankind or whatever. You'll love it, Smallville. Wow, never thought I'd get the chance to meet a real celebrity like like Lex Luthor. He's fine, nothing special, but he's rich, smart, and he makes for good news. They walk together out the door. Stage, LexCorp Day. The stage is set just outside of the towering LexCorp building as a large crowd of people and reporters alike stand around and sit in chairs placed on the field right in front of the stage. Clark and Lois walk through security, showing their badges from the Daily Planet. They make their way through to find a seat. Does this happen often? Clark asks. All the time. Luthor always has something to show off to the world. Man's a genius, but you heard it from me here. I think he's a bit of a prick. Well, being one of the richest men in the world, you might get that reputation. Let's sit here. They find a spot and sit down in it as everyone fills their seats and await the arrival of Luthor. Finally, everyone turns to the stage as music plays, and they all begin to clap their hands as at Luthor's arrival. Luthor walks out onto the stage and waves his hands at his guests, passes by a curtain hiding away his newest invention to the world. Clark looks at the curtain and uses X-ray vision to look through the curtain, where he finds 5 Lex bots standing in a row. Not bad. What'd you say? Lois asks. Oh, nothing. Luthor walks up to the podium and everyone quietens down for him to speak. Citizens of Metropolis, welcome back. He laughs, and so does the rest of the audience. I've been thinking long and hard, and if Metropolis really is the city of tomorrow, as we so claim it to be, we should prove it. What I have to show you all today is my answer to crime. Now, apparently, we have a Superman for that now, but this will be the way moving forward. Luthor turns to Mercy with a smile as she stands beside the curtain. Miss Graves, will you please show everyone what we've come to see? Mercy pulls the curtains back with the push of a button, and the 5 Lex bots are revealed to the audience, who cheer and clap. My Lex bots will be the future of police work and warfare. No longer will we have to worry about our brave young men and women risking their lives. With the Lex bots, we will be able to live safe and secure. Lois turns to Clark. Not bad. Sounds expensive to me. The claps and cheers die down. Now for a demonstration. Miss Graves, will you please turn one of our Lex bots on for everyone to see? Mercy presses a switch on her controls, and the eyes of the Lexbot turns on with a sinister red glow. It steps forward on the stage. Lexbot, let's tell them what you're all about. I am a high-performance assault robotic commissioned by Alexander Luthor to police and protect the citizens of Metropolis. Everyone oohs and ahs at the Lexbot. Lexbot POV. Through the red eyes of the Lexbot, it looks toward the audience and begins to target them. Multiple targets in the vicinity. Set to fire. The Lexbot pulls out its arm and points it toward the audience. It transforms into a gun and fires. People scream and yell and duck and run for cover. Luthor sneaks away from the podium and watches chaos ensue. Lois falls to the ground, hiding behind the row of chairs in front of her as everyone starts running away. Lois then turns to look at Clark. Clark? He's nowhere in sight. She looks around, worried. Clark! The Lexbot continues to fire at the crowd. Everyone tries to get out of the way. Luthor comes out and yells at the people, everything is going to be okay. We'll get this under control. At that moment, police officers come through and begin to fire at the Lexbot as the bullets just seem to fly right off of it. The Lexbot targets onto a few of the police officers and fires missiles out of its back. And they fire at the police, causing a huge explosion. Lois is trapped in a wreckage of chairs as the Lexbot finds her on its scanner. It marches toward her slowly and gets the handgun ready to fire directly at her. You're scheduled for termination. Prepare to die. The gun on the Lexbot heats up as Lois looks frightened, watching this behemoth stand over her, ready to fire and incinerate her. At that moment, a streak of red flies through the air toward the event, blowing back people's hair as they watch in shock. Lois shields her face from the Lexbot's incoming attack, and finally, at the last moment, as the blast from the Lexbot shoots out, Superman stands between it and Lois. The blasts fly right off Superman the blasts fly right off Superman as steam flies off his suit, but no damage has been done. Lois looks up from her cowering position and sees Superman in front of her, protecting her from harm. Superman! Lexbot to Superman, "You're scheduled for termination. Prepare to die." "I don't think so," says Superman. Superman punches the Lexbot and pushes it back, slamming it into the stage. The Lexbot gets up from the damaged stage as Luthor peeks through the back of the stage to look at the fight. Superman and the Lexbot throw punches at each other, but Superman comes away unscathed. Superman smirks at the Lexbot and performs an uppercut, sending the Lexbot flying up into the sky. Superman looks up and shoots the Lexbot with heat vision, causing it to explode in the sky and fall to the ground in pieces of metal. The people look around the battlefield, wondering if it's all okay, and they see Superman as the only one left standing. Everyone cheers and claps. Superman turns to them, smiles, and nods at their appreciation. Superman walks over to Lois, who stands up slowly, amazed by the superhuman man. "Are you all right, man?" I think so. "Let me check." Superman uses his X-ray vision and examines her body all over. "Well, everything seems to be in order. Couldn't hurt checking with a doctor, though." Superman looks at everyone else that's still around, including reporters and the police. "Is everyone all right?" Superman asks. Everyone seems to nod in unison, just amazed by what they are witnessing. Good. Luthor finally makes his chance to step out of the shadows and walks down from the stage. "Superman, Superman!" Superman turns to the approaching Luthor. "I don't know what we could have done if you didn't come. You saved us. I was just doing what I could do to help, but I suggest you go back to the drawing board on those Lexbots of yours." "I will. You can be sure of that." "Well, if everything is all right, I'll be off." Superman is about to fly off, but Luthor grabs hold of Superman's cape. Superman turns. "Don't leave yet, Superman. Don't you want people to know who you are?" "You already know. I'm Superman." "Come on. Let's at least take a picture together. The people will love it." Superman sighs and then nods. "As you say, Mr. Luthor." Luthor holds Superman close to him with a big grip and smiles at everyone. "Well, today didn't go as planned, it seems. I'm afraid science isn't perfect, but without this man, things could have been so much worse. Let's all give our hero a round of applause." The people applaud once more. Several photographers take pictures of the two powerful men together. I don't really know you. I don't know where you come from. But you and I are obviously both invested with the protection of this city. Together we could really do some good. Thanks, but I'm afraid I work alone." Superman turns and is about to fly off. "Let's at least sit down and talk sometime. Have a drink. Discuss things. There's so much I want to know. I think we could both help each other." "We'll see about that." Superman flies off. Luthor looks annoyed as Superman blows him off. Lois starts to leave the premises of LexCorp with everyone. She spots Clark. "Clark? Where were you?" "I was out on the street. We must have gotten separated." "So you didn't see Superman?" "What? No, I guess I just missed him." Lois looks at Clark, not really buying his excuses. "You really didn't?" Clark shakes his head. "I was too preoccupied with running for my life. You seem to always be at the wrong place at the right time." "More like the right place at the right time. In this instance. Are you okay, Lois?" Clark looks at Lois with concern. "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just... he saved my life." "Who? Superman?" "Well, that sure is an amazing story. You'll have to tell me all about it. Come on, let's get out of here." they walk off the premises of LexCorp together. Okay, so this is a huge action scene to dissect. I'm probably not going to go too much into detail, but this is Lex Luthor obviously setting his plan into motion of creating a scene, as he mentioned in the end of Act 1, to basically get Superman out in hiding. And his whole idea, obviously, is to get Superman on his side, to be these two powerful men working together. So obviously he's, making it public, having the picture of the two of them together. He's setting everything in motion so that him and Superman can be seen as equals, and like maybe they can work together. But obviously Superman has his own agenda, and Lex obviously has his own that we're not fully aware of yet. The whole action scene, it's nice, simple. We get to see Superman use a lot of different powers. He gets to punch a thing. He gets to use his X-ray vision. He gets to use his heat vision, all that different stuff. And it just ends with a nice heroic moment. It's a great kind of action scene to begin Act 2, so that you start it off with a bang. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted there to be enough action in the script, because it is a superhero film, but also have a lot of heart to it. But I also like the whole thing that Clark, of course, obviously misses Superman, because he is Superman, and Lois is just kind of annoyed by it. So next we have an omitted scene. I will briefly touch on the omitted scene. It's a scene between Lois and Perry, and it didn't need to be in the script, because it's reiterated in the next scene that we'll be reading. So it was just information that we were going to hear again. So just to stop from being so repetitive, I cut it out. So, office, Daily Planet, day. Clark sits at his desk looking up something on his computer when Lois slams down on his desk and looks at him. Perry just made me the official Superman reporter. Oh, wow, that's great, Lois, but how do you know he's going to come back? Why wouldn't he? He obviously likes saving people. He's going to save people again. You'll see. Maybe. Clark turns away, almost disinterested. I can't believe you. What? There's a flying man in our city saving people, and you act like you could care less. I mean, I think it's cool that there's someone out there fighting for truth and justice who can fly, has super strength, X-ray vision, and all that stuff, but I think the real heroes are just ordinary people. I swear. Well, I could say this. There's literally nobody else like you. Well, that's good. I'd hate for there to be two of me. God forbid we have more than one Clark Kent in the world. Anyway, if I could somehow get an interview with him, that would be perfect. Imagine it. Me interviewing a real-life superhero. Clark stops typing for a moment and thinks. Maybe he's just afraid of what people will think of him after they learn who he is. Well, he shouldn't be afraid of me. I don't bite. Well, I'll let you get back to doing whatever it is you're doing. Thanks for coming with me to the expose, though. I really enjoyed it. Aside for the giant robot death machine part. She smiles and walks off. Her infectious smile causes Clark to smile as well as he goes back to working on an article. Clark looks back up from his computer and looks at Lois walking away. Hey, Lois. Lois turns around to look at him. Maybe we could do something together sometime. Smallville? Are you asking me out on a date? Well, not originally, but I guess it can be that. Considered a date, that is. Sure. I'd like that. Great. How about I call you? Anytime. They smile and Lois leaves to sit back down at her desk. Clark looks pleased with himself. Okay, so this is a nice little scene. We get a reprieve of, what happened in the previous scene. And we see that Lois is now the official Superman reporter and she wants to finally interview him. And we get this moment where Clark kind of opens up as Superman a little bit. That, maybe he's afraid of what people will think of him. Because Clark, or Clark as Superman has kind of been one of these, like, he does his job and then he leaves. He doesn't like talking or whatever. And so he's kind of a nervous Superman at this point, just afraid of what people will think of him, and he doesn't want to get too much information out of there. But obviously, Lois wants to pick Superman's brain, and we get this fun little banter of Clark asking Lois out on a date, which is fun. It continues their relationship, and Lois and Clark just are kind of fun and sweet together, I think, obviously. I mean, I wrote it. But, yeah, continuing on. Metropolis Bank, establishing shot of the Metropolis Bank in the downtown area, Metropolis Bank interior. A group of 5 bank robbers with guns in hand point towards civilians who are laying flat on the ground. Bank robber number 1 stands in front of the bank teller with a gun pointed at their face. Money, now. The bank teller does exactly as they're told and fumbles through grappling stacks of cash to put in a bag. They perform the task nervously. Hurry up, we don't have all day. At that moment, a gust of air pushes the doors of the building wide open. The bank robbers all turn to see what's going on. Nothing is there, so they return to their business. Bank robber number 1 receives the bag of money and turns around to head out, but Superman stands there in the center of the room, arms crossed. I hope you plan on returning that. Bank robber number 1 looks at the others. What are you standing there for? Light him up. The bank robbers nervously fire, but the bullets just bounce off Superman's suit, and he is left unharmed. They then run up to him one by one, and Superman fights them off with each one punching and also dodging their blows. He throws them to the side as they lay on the ground moaning and injured. Superman walks up to bank robber number 1, who takes his gun and fires at Superman point blank in the head. Smoke comes from where the bullet hit, but the bullet itself falls to the ground. Superman takes this moment of awe to punch the bank robber in the jaw, and he collapses to the ground. Superman picks up the bag of money and hands it back to the bank teller. Here, I don't think these guys will be giving you any more problems. And just like that, Superman darts away in a flash. Streets of Metropolis. A normal day in Metropolis as cars drive up and down the road. Suddenly comes the sound of screaming people and we see a large bus racing through the streets at top speeds. Bus interior. The bus driver sits in the driver's seat, trying to regain control of the bus, moving the gear shift to try to stop as the passengers scream and yell, panicking loudly. Through the front windshield, Superman flies down in front of the incoming bus. The people look out and point as they rush closer and closer to Superman. It's Superman! Superman puts his arms out, ready for the impact of the bus as it rushes toward him. Superman skids backward, causing some damage to the road and the front of the bus as he helps it come to a complete stop. Superman walks over to the entrance of the bus where the bus driver opens the door and lets Superman walk in. Superman climbs inside and looks at everyone and nods with a smile. Is everyone all right? Nobody says anything, but just gives blank stares and smiles. Well, if so, then I'll be off. He then leaves with a smile. Skyscraper day. A worker is busy high in the air on the lift, wiping the windows clean with soap and water. Everything seems to be going perfectly fine. The worker goes to wet his brush one more time, dips it in, and starts to wash the window again. Snap! A cable from the lift breaks, along with another cable snapping. The lift tilts downward as the worker tries to hold on for dear life, looking down at the ground below. Sidewalk. Down below, people are walking, minding their own business when a mixture of water, brush, and can holding the water crashes to the ground, causing causing shock all around. Pedestrians look up to the skyscraper above as they spot the worker hanging on for dear life. "Somebody help that man," says a pedestrian. Skyscraper, the worker holds on for dear life as he slips as the lift begins to swing and dangle loosely in the air. He falls, his hands gripping the bars of the lift as tightly as he can. He holds tightly as his fingers loosen their grip, and finally he goes into free fall. Falling like a rag doll in the air, the music soars as Superman arrives, flying through the air and grabs hold of the worker, rescuing him from an untimely death. The worker opens his eyes to see as they fly down from the skyscraper. He looks at Superman. "Superman!" Superman lands on the sidewalk gently and lets the worker down. "Thank you, Superman. You saved my life." "You're welcome. Hope this doesn't make you afraid of heights now." Just then, Superman hears the cries of people in danger and flies off, leaving the worker to watch in amazement. Interior printing room, Daily Planet. The printing press produces hundreds of copies of the Daily Planet with front page news about Superman's heroic deeds. Perry walks over to where one of the papers is being printed and takes a copy of the Daily Planet to look at it himself. He smiles at the headline. He turns and looks at one of the printers, and they said newspapers were dead. Well, look now. All right, so this stuff here is basically just one huge little montage of Superman just saving the day. Now that he's been kind of shown to the world and Lex Luthor has, had his little publicity stunt with him, Superman is now going around saving people on a daily basis. And we see him, robbing people, saving people, and just being an all-around nice guy. It's nice, fun stuff. And I like this part where, we see the papers being printed and Perry's like, newspapers are back from the dead, basically, which is something that he's been wanting this whole time. And now Superman gives the Daily Planet a reason to keep going and is making them have some pretty big business. Okay, so exterior, Arctic, day. Pull in towards the mountains of the Arctic where the Fortress of Solitude sits buried inside. Fortress of Solitude. Superman stands in costume in the presence of the holographic version of his Kryptonian father, Jor-El. "They love me, Father. They really do. You should have seen it. I could fly from one side of the city to the other just like that and save 3 or 4 people in need all at once. I can imagine. Your years on Earth have allowed you to become more attuned to your abilities. They are a gift granted to our people. Being a superhero isn't that bad. Saving people from fires, putting out the fires, stopping robbers. It's so thrilling, but I know I'm really making a difference out there." "Good. As you should, Kal-El. Give to the people what they can't get just by themselves." "I've got that covered. Now, my son, there is something very serious we need to discuss. It's important that you listen." "What is it?" "As protector of Earth, it is your duty to save the people from all threats within and without." "What do you mean?" "I'm saying you're not the only powerful being in the universe. Your presence on Earth and your survival is a blessing, but it's your job to maintain the peace." "I will, Father. I'm strong enough to go up against anything." "You're so sure of your abilities, my son, but there are others still, just as strong out there, and they will learn of Krypton's last son and will no doubt come to challenge you." "Like who?" "What business would anyone have with Earth? It supplies many natural resources like so many other planets in the galaxy. Need I remind you, this very facility housed many Kryptonians before you. But Earth is not to be done with as we please. It is not ours to exploit." "You say we like you mean our people. Who am I defending Earth from?" Jor-El looks down and sighs. "Other survivors of Krypton's destruction. But you told me I was the only one." "That's what you said. I'm the last son of Krypton." "There's still so little you know of our world, Kal-El. Then teach me. Don't leave me in the dark. Tell me what it is I should be protecting Earth from. Kryptonians were once conquerors in the universe. Before its destruction, we had several stations spread throughout different galaxies that served as new colonies for our people. News of Krypton's demise would have reached these colonizers across the known world, searching for a new home, a new Krypton. And you think Earth could be next? I do. Superman looks at Jor-El frustrated. Why are you just now telling me this? Because you needed time to settle into your powers. You needed time to become the man you are now. And how much time do I have left? There's no telling, but you must be prepared to do what is right. You are Earth's final hope. That symbol on your chest means more than you think. Superman looks down at the large S on his chest. It is the crest of your family house, the crest of my father and his father before him. It means hope, and that is what you will give to the people of Earth. They will look up into the sky and see it and know hope remains. I won't fail. I won't fail you. I know you won't, because Earth is your home, and I know you will protect her and its people to the last. Father, who is out there that I should be worried about? His name is Zod. All right, quickly, I want to touch on this little scene before we get into some big stuff here. So, basically, this whole scene, I like this playfulness that Superman is kind of, loving that people love him. He loves, helping people, and I think that's really important for the Superman character, at least in my script. I like this playfulness with him and how he likes doing what he's doing, but then it turns to this seriousness that, like, Jor-El is like, okay, now you've had your fun, now let's get down to business. You need to protect Earth from possible other Kryptonians that are out there that survived the destruction of Krypton because they were on other planets at the time, and they'll eventually learn of Superman's Superman's survival. And so that kind of sets up this eventual conflict that Superman will have to face. He'll have to face other aliens coming to Earth, or other Kryptonians, or something worse. And those that might have been looking at the script here, these asterisks are here because these are added scenes. This is part of the expanded scenes for this expanded edition. I added the character of Zod into this to set him up, because in my head, I see this Superman story as a trilogy of films, and I see Zod as kind of like the main villain of the third script, if I ever did that. But that's just how I see it in my head. So I wanted to kind of set the seeds and plant the seeds and set that all into motion rather early in the first script here. So now we go into this flashback, which is a completely new scene that I've added. Warring planet. A large man, ruthless, wearing Kryptonian armor, stands with a army of other Kryptonian soldiers. This is General Zod, 40s. He and his men charge an alien army and fire their weapons at them, obliterating them. General Zod was our most decorated soldier. With him, Krypton prospered and visited many worlds, pillaging and conquering. General Zod walks up to an alien family and holds his gun in front of a mother and child. He fires. He was absolutely ruthless in his actions. Council Chamber, Krypton. General Zod, Jor-El, and members of the Kryptonian Council stand around a large chamber seated. He thought he could pave a new path for Krypton, but there were some of us that did not see where from his point of view, myself included. Jor-El to General Zod. Your actions have consequences, Zod. Fighting armed men is one thing, but killing women, children, those that can't defend themselves is wrong. You would have me stop what I have born, or you would have me stop what I was born to do. I'm a warrior. I take so I can give back to Krypton. Council member says, but you must be kept in check. And who are you to tell me what I can and cannot do, old man? Jor-El grabs hold of General Zod firmly by the arm. That old man is your superior. Nobody rules over me. No one. General Zod shoves Jor-El away and walks out. Jor-El turns to the council, but in that moment a laser fires through the ceiling, causing it to collapse. Jor-El and the council members scatter. Exterior Kryptonian field. General Zod and his army clash with some of the resistant fighters of Krypton. Zod staged a coup. He brought many to his side, believing the old Krypton he loved was dead and had to be rebuilt anew. It shouldn't have happened. The war kept us from what was truly important, for in that time we were unaware that we were sitting on a literal time bomb as Krypton's core began to overheat. General Zod's forces are overtaken in battle. We see him cry out in anger, and he is apprehended. Council chamber, Krypton, day. General Zod and his men stand in handcuffs before the Council of Krypton. We won the war, and Zod was sent to the Phantom Zone. General Zod, for your crimes against the people of Krypton, you and your cohorts will spend 40 years in the Phantom Zone as punishment. Perhaps in that time, you will see the error of your ways, and when we meet again, we can walk, or you can walk a free man, rehabilitated. I am a free man, and you put me in shackles. The Phantom Zone can't hold me. We shall see about that. At that moment, a huge light beam shines down on them as the ceiling opens up. General Zod and his men are sucked up into the light and then disappear without a trace. It should have ended there, but the damage had already been done. Zod had poisoned the minds of many of Krypton's citizens, including those on distant worlds. Flash forward. Fortress of Solitude. Superman tries taking it all in. And so that is why you must defend Earth. Once the 40-year cycle in the Phantom Zone is up, Zod and the remainder of his armies will be released, and when they see that Krypton is gone, they will come for other worlds. No doubt there are others on other worlds loyal to Zod, already searching. We have to stop this from happening. I can't do it alone. That's why you have been given the time to prepare. You must defend Earth. I will. Alright, so, this whole thing is added to set up Zod, obviously, as the kind of main antagonist of the Superman trilogy that I kind of have planned in my head. And we get this, extensive flashback that's not too long, but shows who Zod was, why he was bad, and what he did. And we also get glimpses that, like, Jor-El is like, we were too busy fighting Zod that we were unaware that, Krypton's destruction was imminent. Now, I will say that I have a little plot hole here, or a problem in the plotting. I forgot when I wrote this scene that what happens is Krypton is sucked up into the sun. And I have it here that Krypton's core is overheating and will explode. Maybe both happened. Let's just say that to fix the problem in my script. But it is a problem. I should have paid closer attention during my read-through of the script before I wrote that scene. But it's whatever. But I do like this idea that, Zod has been in the Phantom Zone for 40 years, and Superman is in his 30s, so this whole idea that Superman has about 10 or 9 years to prepare for Zod's invasion. So that's the whole idea behind that. To set up Zod, to set up Kryptonians coming to Earth, which will play an important role later. Okay, so but that's the end of that scene. It's a nice kind of continuation. That's my first added scene of, I think there's two other big added scenes later on. Interior fancy restaurant evening. Inside a relatively packed restaurant, Clark pulls back a chair to allow Lois to sit down at the table before walking over to sit down himself. At that moment, a waiter comes over as the two look through their menus. Good evening. Can I start you two off with anything to drink? I'll just have water, says Clark. Water for me too. The waiter scribbles that on his notepad. All right. Well, I'll leave you guys time to look over your menus. If you have any questions, just ask. The waiter walks off and Lois turns to Clark. Well, Smallville, you clean up pretty nice. Clark looks through the menu items. Wow, food here is really expensive. Having second thoughts, are we? What? Oh, no. Clark looks at Lois and quivers at the lip a little. You look very pretty tonight, Lois. Thanks. It's not very rare I get to dress up so fancy. So, what are you thinking of getting? Lois looks through the menu. I'm not sure. Half of these I don't think I even know how to pronounce. I guess that's the trappings of a 4-star restaurant. Lois notices Clark playing around with his tie as if it's making him a bit uncomfortable. You know, Clark, you don't have to impress me by taking me to the fanciest place you could find. Would you rather go somewhere else? We don't have to. Clark looks back at the menu. These prices are a little outrageous. Clark puts his menu down and stares right at Lois. Where else would you like to go? He asks. Lois snickers at him and smiles. I know a place that's a lot cheaper than here. Let's just say that. Bar. Evening. Lois, followed by Clark, walks through the crowded bar as they weave their way through the crowd of people. When you said you knew a place, I didn't think you meant the bar. Hey, it's cheap and it has food. Besides, it's a place we know. They make it over to the bar and sit down. The bartender walks up to them and smiles at Lois. The usual bib. Give Mr. Kent his non-alcoholic he likes so much. Got it, Lois. Bar. Later. Clark and Lois continue sitting at the bar later into the night. Lois laughs hysterically at something Clark says. She is clearly drunk, a slew of empty glasses left in front of her. Well, Lois, I wasn't expecting our date to go quite like this. It's fine. I'd rather be here than pretending to be someone else at some fancy restaurant anyway. Lois goes for another drink. You think you've had enough to drink? Can't exactly be good for your liver, you know. I'll be fine. She takes a sip of her drink. Now, what I was saying, Perry wants me to try to get an interview with Superman. And I told him, sure, but the guy's going to have to learn to say more than 3 words after he rescues someone and before he takes off to save someone else. Well, I don't know what it's like to be Superman, but I'd say if he's anything like me, maybe he's a little shy. Afraid to tell anyone who he is or what they'll think of him. The world's in love with him. He saves people. He's good. He make a great article, but how do you get in contact with a guy like that? Maybe you just ask. Lois looks at Clark dumbfounded and then breaks into laughter drunkenly. Like that would ever happen, or like that would ever work. Did you forget that I said he doesn't stay around long enough for you to ask him anything? Well, it's worth a shot. Clark looks at Lois with a wide smile on his face. Interior apartments night. Clark follows Lois as she stumbles down a hallway and finds her room. She gets out her keys and opens the door to walk in. She turns to look at Clark and smile. I enjoyed tonight, even if it didn't go as planned. Well, it wasn't what I thought a first date would be, but I enjoyed it. You're a good guy, Smallville. You're good and kind and you have morals. Most men have none of those. I'm sure they do, Lois. I'm just different. I was going to say I'm just me. That's right. You are just you, and just you is different. It's a compliment, Clark. You should take it. Oh, I will. Thank you, Lois. Lois looks at him quizzically and then takes off Clark's glasses and looks at him, smiling and chuckling. You're Superman. Nervously, Clark says, What? No, that's impossible, Lois. I think you've had one too many drinks. Maybe I have. Well, good night. Good night, Lois. Lois closes the door and locks it. Clark wipes the sweat forming on his brow, a sigh of relief and a smile as he walks away. At that moment, Clark's ears ring as a high frequency hits his ears and a familiar voice speaks to him. Superman, I know you can hear me. I may not know much about you, but I know your hearing is the best. I'm still waiting for our little talk. Find me at my office. There's something we need to discuss. All right, so I'm even impressed by some of this stuff that I've written here. So we get Lois and Clark's first date. Obviously, it doesn't go as planned. They go to the fancy restaurant. I liked the idea of them going to a fancy restaurant first and then being like, let's get out of here, and then they go to the bar. Because we've established that they've already been at that bar before, and it's a nice little atmosphere to have these two characters and see Lois kind of drunk and just blabbering around about how, she wants to meet Superman. And we get a little bit more of like Clark kind of being like, well, maybe he's nervous and everything to talk to people. Because, obviously he is, and he should be, because, I mean, he hasn't interacted with these people ever before, and he's never been a superhero until now. But I like the playful banter between them, and I specifically like the apartment scene where Lois takes off Clark's glasses and laughs and says that he's Superman. Obviously, she's drunk, so she's not exactly in her right mind, but she's not far off from it. And then, obviously, this was my way of introducing Lex Luthor back into the plot by using a high-frequency voice thing so that Superman could hear him above everybody else, because obviously Superman can hear everybody around the world, but it worked for this instance. So Lab, LexCorp, night. Superman touches down on a landing pad at the very top of LexCorp, where glass doors lead to the inside of a massive lab. Superman walks through the entrance. He is greeted by Luthor, walking over to shake his hand. So good you could come, Superman. You're the man everyone wants to know about, and here you are in my very presence. What do you want, Luthor? I just want to know you like everyone else wants to. You're the talk of the town, cream of the crop around here. Luthor walks him through the large lab area filled with large machines, both finished and in progress. I've dedicated my entire life to creating a better tomorrow. Science is my bread and butter, and nothing pleases me more than to see new things arise. You happen to be one of those new things. For years, I've been fascinated by the mysteries of the universe. Luthor puts up a star map of the universe like a large hologram filling the area. Where we come from, how we got here, who is our creator or creators? Some say God, some say the universe created itself. No matter the belief, I know life has existed out there among the stars. This world is too big for Earth to be the only thing. In the 50s, we thought little green spacemen flew down to Earth, watching us, examining our behaviors. People think it's all some big hoax, a conspiracy, but here you are as proof that it's not. Tell me, Superman, how old are you? I've been on Earth for quite a while. At least 30 years, I would say. Come, let me show you something. Luthor walks it should be Superman, over to a large mass under a large sheet. He lifts it up to reveal the rest of the remains of the small spacecraft. Superman looks surprised. 31 years ago, this craft fell in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. My father came to sweep it up. For years, he examined it as thoroughly as he could, seeing how it worked and what it was for. This is my inheritance from him, and I discovered from it a charted course for Earth, for a planet that has yet to be discovered by Earth scientists. Luthor looks at Superman examining the spacecraft. This was your ship, wasn't it? Yes. Somebody must have found you, took you in, raised you. Superman looks at Luthor with a stern face. Don't worry. I don't have any reason to know who raised you. I'm more interested in you and where you came from. What do you want, Luthor? I want to know if there's any more people like you out in the universe. My planet was destroyed. That's why I was sent to Earth. I'm the last son of the planet Krypton. Krypton. Is that with a C or a K? Well, in Earth's alphabet, it's a K. Luthor walks over to a computer and types some things in, and the hologram of planets zooms through the stars to the position where a red sun is. Is this where it was? Yes, that's it. I still wonder, why send you here to Earth? My father believed I would be safe here. Your son's rays would grant me incredible strength that I could use to benefit the people of Earth. Ah, so that's where your powers come from. How was Krypton destroyed? It collapsed into the sun. Everyone on the planet, including my parents, died along with the planet. I'm sorry. I don't know what it's like to lose an entire race of people, but I still feel your pain. It must be hard for you. I never knew them. All I have of them is memories and histories. But surely there must be some survivors out there that could be looking for you. I assure you, no one's looking for me. Are there others, though? There's believed to be some, scattered across other worlds, old colonies. Let me show you something else. It's something I've been working on for some time, and luckily for you, it's now functional. Luthor walks Superman over to a large machine that looks like a gateway. Mercy, come on out and turn on the machine. Mercy walks out of the shadows and turns on the machine and types at a computer station. Miss Graves has been my assistant for many years now. She's the best and she's a good worker too. Luthor turns to Mercy. Put in the coordinates. Mercy puts in some numbers and launches the machine as a wormhole opens up inside the lab, showing a sea of stars, chunks of rock, and a massive red sun in the background. What is this? Asks Superman. Amazing what technology can do. That there is the last remains of your home, of Krypton. Superman looks at what remains for that first time. A tear forms in his eyes. I could take you anywhere, any planet and galaxy. With this, you can go home, see what remains of it. Superman keeps staring at it. I'm fine standing here. Now, what about these Kryptonian colonies of yours? Perhaps we could contact one of them, reunite you with your people. From here, I could speak out to the entire universe and tell them that Krypton's last son lives, and he's here on Earth. No. Superman looks at Luthor with a frown. I don't want to be found, and I don't want them coming here. What? Don't you want to see your people? If there's some alive out there, imagine what 20, 50, 100 Kryptonians could do for Earth. It would be the next evolutionary step for man. We'd be able to protect the world and keep the peace. Like your Lexbots? You don't understand what you would be asking for, Luthor. I was born on Krypton, but raised on Earth. I was raised to know what was good and right and wrong. They were not. Krypton was a warring planet. We conquered and enslaved. If you brought them here, it would mean Earth's destruction. Surely they would listen to you. They don't know me. You're a smart man, Luthor. One of the greatest thinkers around, but this is not right. I just want to reunite you. If you reunite me, it would mean the destruction of Earth. This technology is groundbreaking, but it's also dangerous. I'm trying to help you, Superman. With this technology, I can give you a family, a people. I already have a family here on Earth. I know what you're doing, Luthor. You're so keen on making the world a better place, you're neglecting to see that some things just aren't meant to be. We can work together if you want to, but I'll do it my way, and you do it your way. But leave this business behind. Luthor sighs. Fine then, Superman, you win. Good. Now I'm going to destroy this thing. What? No, you can't. This is my work. You've seen the things I can do, Luthor. If you brought even one surviving Kryptonian to Earth, it would be the doom of this planet. I won't watch my home burn, and I know you don't want that. Superman charges up his eyes as they begin to glow red hot. No, you can't do this. No! Superman shoots heat vision out of his eyes and burns down the gateway, destroying it and the path to Krypton. Mercy watches with shock, and Luthor looks with anger. All that's left is flaming destruction. What have you done? What needed to be done to protect Earth? With that, Superman blasts off. Luthor stands there looking at the destruction. Mercy runs over to him concerned. Mr. Luthor, are you all right? He shrugs her off. I'm fine. Luthor stares into the flames reflected in his eyes, as he gives a ruthless look. This was my life's work, destroyed. I offered him help, an alliance between man and God, and he practically spit in my face. What are you going to do? She asks. What else? I'll start again. Alright, so there's a lot of things here. This is, I think, the longest scene in the script so far, but we get that meeting with Luthor and Superman that Luthor had wanted earlier on in the script. We see that Luthor has been very interested in things from other worlds, and he's been creating a lot of technology, such as this portal that can go out to other worlds. And we also get confirmation of what became of the other piece of Superman's ship, because earlier on in the script, Jonathan Kent says that he got some of Superman's ship, but not all of it, and he thinks that the government took it. Well, obviously, Lex Luthor's father took the rest of the ship and learned some stuff about it. And obviously, Luthor has this idea that if there are more Supermen out there, that maybe he could use them to create an army for Earth, to protect them, for the betterment of mankind. This is obviously an insane idea. Just showing that Luthor is a smart guy, but he's obviously not thinking things through at this moment and everything. And, Clark obviously knows what's going on at this time. He knows that there's, there might be other people out there that are, some bad Kryptonians, some people that are loyal to Zod that will go to Earth and use it for their own benefit. They'll destroy it. They'll turn it into a new Krypton. Take it over for Zod, kill everybody on it. And so Superman knows what the consequences of bringing these people to Earth would be, so that's why he destroys this machine. Now, this machine is something that is also sort of in Superman Birthright. There's a part earlier on in Superman Birthright during the origin story where Superman and Luthor are friends that grew up with each other, and Luthor finds sort of this way to sort of not enter Krypton, but interact with it. And that's similar to here, because in that comic, Luthor basically sends Kryptonians to Earth and starts an invasion. And if you're reading into this and listening to the story, that's obviously what we're setting up here. And now we see that, Superman isn't about helping Luthor at all, and Luthor is really angry about that, and now Luthor has fully kind of become an antagonist of Superman. He's kind of seeing that Superman can't really help him in this instance, and he's going to take matters into his own hands, possibly. But that's the end of the first half of Act 2, so I'm going to get another drink of water and we'll continue back up. Clark's apartment, day. Clark opens the door into his new apartment. He carries see a mistake right there. He carries a cardboard box in his hands and looks around at the pretty bare looking room. He sets his things down on a kitchen counter and looks around the room with an expression that says, I can make this work. At that moment, he can hear the cries of someone in danger and races towards the window. Just like that, he's already in his Superman attire and races out the window and into the sky. Baseball stadium, day. Clark and Jimmy sit together in the stands of a baseball game as the crowd watches the game. Clark is busy writing on his notepad about the game while Jimmy watches the game. Jimmy taps on Clark's shoulder to make him pay close attention. On the field, the Metropolis baseball player is up to the bat. The pitcher stares at him, ready to throw the ball. He throws it. The people stand on edge of their seats. The Metropolis baseball player hits the ball. Jimmy snaps the picture. The ball races in the air, and it's out of there. The crowd cheers. Everyone raises up in the air. The Metropolis baseball player runs all the way home. Clark stands there, smiles and claps, and looks at Jimmy, amazed at the great feat. Apartments. Clark stands outside Lois's apartment with flowers in hand. He knocks on the door. Lois opens and looks at the flowers with surprise and a smile. Clark makes his way inside the room as they stand in the doorway and kiss as they close the door behind them. So, just quickly, it's just kind of a little montage of scenes to kind of catch us up to speed with what's going on, because we're kind of at the middle of the story now. So Clark's got his new apartment and stuff, and he's going to work and everything. Just simple little stuff. And also Lois and his relationship has gone a little farther. Now they're kissing. Elevator, Daily Planet, day. Lois walks into the elevator with a bunch of other workers and presses the button for her particular floor. She smiles at Daily Planet worker number 1 standing beside her. She looks as the elevator goes up and up, what seems to be forever. She turns to one of the workers. I guess these things couldn't get any slower, could they? Insert shot. Strain is placed on the cables of the elevator. Suddenly, the elevator stops in its tracks. Everyone looks shocked for a moment. One of the workers presses one of the buttons to see if the elevator will start back up. That's weird. Didn't they just do maintenance on this thing a couple weeks ago? Lois looks around worried. Insert shot. The cables of the elevator snap and send it into freefall. The elevator falls with everyone inside screaming and holding on for dear life. They watch as the numbers decrease as they get closer and closer to hitting the bottom. Lois holds on, her eyes shut tight as they possibly can be, preparing for a very sudden and quick death. And suddenly the elevator stops abruptly and causes everyone to jump and get knocked around. What happened? We stopped. Insert shot. Superman flies below the elevator, holding it in place. Inside the elevator, the doors open up to reveal Superman on the other side. He looks at them with the typical smile. Is everyone okay? Everyone is speechless and just nods. Someone should really get that elevator checked. Superman helps everyone get out of the elevator and onto the offices on the floor. It was stopped on. Everyone in the office watches in shock and takes pictures with their phones. Lois looks at Superman and doesn't walk away. Something is on her mind. Is something wrong, ma'am? Lois, Lois Lane. Well, is there anything I could do for you, Lois? No. I mean, yes. I mean, could you. Would you. Oh, screw it. Can I have an interview with you? For the paper. You're the one who's writing about me and the planet. Of course, you don't have to. I know you must be a very busy man. It's fine if you say no. No. I'd like to. Really? Where could we meet? She says, surprised. Superman motions upwards. How about the roof of the Daily Planet? Friday, 6 o'clock sharp. Just as long as you promise to take the stairs, that is. Sure. Well, if that's all you need, then I'll be off. Thanks again. And like that, he's gone at the speed of light. Lois is left to stand there and ponder, a smile on her face. Office, Daily Planet. Lois walks into the office. Clark, with a concerned look, rushes over to Lois and holds her close. Lois, are you okay? We all heard about the elevator breaking down. You weren't on that thing, were you? It's all right, Clark. I'm fine. Just a little shook up is all. Are you sure? He looks around at her as if he's looking for any scrapes or bruises on her. I have better news, though. Superman. What about him? I got an interview with him. At that moment, Perry rushes out of his office and looks at Lois. What's this about an interview with Superman? He walks over to Lois. Good to see you're okay, Lois. Can't have my best reporter dying on me. No way, no how. Glad to see how important I am to you, Perry. I'm kidding, Lois. I'm glad you're safe. Perry puts an arm around Lois and looks to the heavens, or maybe just the ceiling. But an interview with Superman, now that's something. Give me that, and we'll bring newspapers back full swing. Everyone will be buying a copy of the Daily Planet just to see more news about the boy in blue. Perry rushes back to his office and looks back at Lois. This very well could be the most important interview of your career, Lois. In the history of humanity, even. He swings the door shut and runs into his office. Lois and Clark laugh at each other. Never thought I'd see the old man so happy. Hey, you did it, Lois. You're making it big time. Yeah? You think so? I know so. Clark smiles at Lois, which causes her to laugh at him. Alright, so this is another little action beat. Just something fun, something extremely simple, an elevator falling. Nothing too dramatic or anything, but it was designed this way so that Lois could be involved and then she could finally ask Superman the question of, will you have an interview with me? And I like how nervous she gets in this scene because Lois is so confident through the rest of the script. And, Clark is the one that's always acting kind of nervous and everything. And so it's really funny seeing her in a different position here. And I also like that. I like this part where Lois is like, I got the interview with Superman, and then Perry just walks out of his office like he's been eavesdropping this whole time. It's like, what's this about an interview with Superman? Just a really fun scene to get us into the second half of the movie, I think. Interior Lab LexCorp. Luthor, wearing a nice shirt with rolled up sleeves, is busy at work fixing the gateway to the universe. He pushes on one of the mechanical parts that forms the gate and attaches it to the other side, forming a perfect circle. Luthor sits down in a rolly chair and breathes exhaustively after all the work. He rolls over to the computer and begins typing away, and then suddenly the gateway comes to life once more with a sea of stars in the background. Luthor gives a loud and happy aha. Then Mercy comes up to him with a cup of tea and hands it to him as she looks at the machine. You finished it. I did. He takes a sip of his tea. Superman thought he destroyed it, but he didn't damage it enough. Just a few replacements here and there, and voila. Maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Superman said this could be dangerous. Superman is out of the equation. I was wrong to believe gods and men could work together. They can't. Man forges his own destiny in this world. Just like you, just like me, sweetheart. I want to know all I can about him, his people, and his world, and what better way than with this? This is wrong, sir. Luthor stands up, towering over Mercy. Wrong? This is Metropolis, my dear. The city of tomorrow where tomorrow's realities are made possible. My family built this city, and look, I have the gateway to other worlds in my very presence. They look at the gateway to the universe. Superman may have his powers, but I have created a bridge between worlds. My power wasn't gifted to me. I made it happen. What do you plan to do? Luthor looks down at Mercy. I'm going to go on a little expedition. Lab LexCorp, another day. Luthor and a group of 5 scientists stand together in spacesuits with jetpacks on their back. They stand on the platform in front of the gateway. Luthor turns to Mercy, who is at the controls, and nods to her. She types something on the computer, and the gateway is open to the remains of Krypton. Lex nods to all the other scientists as they walk through the gateway and into space. Remains of Krypton space. The 5 scientists float around in space looking at the rocky remains of the planet Krypton. One of the scientists finds what seems to be a radiated green rock like emerald. Over here, I found something. One of the other scientists floats over to the rock and looks at it, collects some samples and bring them back to the lab. The scientist pulls out a tool prepared to remove the green rock from the rest of the rubble. Lab LexCorp later. The scientists, now in their lab coats, congregate around a table, placing large green rocks down. Luthor is over at a computer that is scanning each of the different types of rocks as the screen displays high radioactivity. Mercy stands over Luthor's shoulder at the information the scanners show on the green rocks. What is it? That, Miss Graves, is the remains of Superman's home. Huge chunks of rock bursting with high levels of radioactivity. To us, it's nothing. It's merely a rock you might find in your engagement ring. Luthor stands up and walks over to one of the green rocks and holds it firmly in his hand. Mercy follows him. But if my hunch is correct, the high levels of radioactivity are lethal to our Man of Steel. You're going to use it on Superman? I will eventually, when the time is right. But not just him, the others as well. I've sent out the call. If other surviving Kryptonians in the universe answer, they will come to Earth, and I'll give them this. He shoves the green rock in Mercy's face. I finally understand now, Mercy. I've been trying to save the world from itself when I should have been trying to save it from people like Superman. I thought you were the smartest person in the world, but I realize now you're insane. Superman blew you off. Get over it, Lex. What? No. I'm as sane as I've ever been. How do you even know your little plan is going to work? Every great scientific feat known to mankind has started with a hunch. And so has every failure. You're a real asshole, you know. I'm done. I quit. I can't be a part of this. Mercy turns around to leave, but Luthor grabs her arm and pulls her back. She spits in Luthor's eyes. This stops him as he lets go and wipes the spit from his face. Or from his eyes. Fine. Get out of here. I'll just find another assistant. Good luck finding them when everyone else is dead because of you. Mercy walks off, leaving Luthor. All the scientists have stopped with their work and stare at Luthor awkwardly after all the commotion going on. What are you looking at? Get back to work. Alright, so a lot of stuff going on in this little scene. So Luthor has done what he said he was going to do. He's fixed the gateway to the universe and has plans of going to Superman's world, and he finds kryptonite that he is not only going to use on Superman, but the Kryptonians as well, because he has sent out the call to Kryptonians across the universe to come to Earth, and his idea has now morphed into, well, if I can't get Superman to help me, I will bring these men, these other Kryptonians, to Earth, and I can control them. It's a crazy plan, and I'm not exactly sure how he got there. It's pretty a quick turn for Lex Luthor, and if there is one problem I will say in this script is that Lex Luthor's motivations are a little muddled, a little confusing, and they kind of change and morph a little bit. It's just, it's not flawless. I'm not going to say that my portrayal of Lex and everything he does makes sense. It doesn't really. That's probably one of my biggest problems with this script. But so far that's his idea, and I added this scene because originally I didn't have the scene where they went to where the scientists went into Krypton's remains to grab everything. They just kind of, you see them, they go through the portal, and then the next scene they're out of the portal. But here I wanted to have them running around looking at the remains, which they probably shouldn't be doing close to a big giant sun, but oh well. And also we get Mercy is fed up with Lex. She tells him how it is, and we get this big argument, and Mercy is ready to leave him, and it adds some growth to Mercy, who hasn't been, like a huge major player or anything. She's not like a deep character or anything. We don't know much about her, but it's a conflict that Luthor himself has to deal with. Okay, so Daily Planet rooftop, evening. Lois walks back and forth on the rooftop of the Daily Planet, the giant globe spinning right above her. She walks over to the edge of the building and looks at the city skyline bathed in the light of the sinking sun. Lois digs her notepad out and opens it up as if ready to write, but waits a little while longer. She looks at her wrist and her wristwatch, which reads 6:30. She looks up a little frustrated. At that very moment, Superman flies up right behind her and touches down. "Hello, Lois." Startled, Lois turns around to see Superman. She looks at him with a face that says, "Now you show up." "You're late," says Lois. Superman walks up close to her. "I was a little busy, I'm afraid." "Well, are you free now?" "Yes." "So, I guess we should get this started then." Lois pulls her notepad back out and gets her pen at the ready to write. "So, one day you just happen to pop out of the sky, and next thing we know, you're saving the city. Why do you do it?" "It's easy. I want to protect the people." "And why Metropolis of all places?" "Well, I sort of go wherever I'm needed. But I guess if Metropolis is the city of tomorrow, maybe it could use a man of tomorrow." "I like that. How did you end up here? Like, did you fall into any sort of chemicals that might have given you, I don't know, superpowers? Like straight out of science fiction?" "I'm afraid not. No. I'm from the planet Krypton. A planet a planet far away from your galaxy." "Then why are you here on Earth? I don't think you're trying to invade us." No. I'm here because my planet was destroyed. My parents shipped me off to Earth so I wouldn't suffer the same fate. So you were raised here on Earth all my life, but their names are staying confidential, I'm afraid." "Of course, I understand. How was your planet destroyed?" "It's believed the planet collapsed into Krypton's sun. The core of the planet became unstable." "So you're the last of your people?" "As far as I know. I haven't been out to find them. I'm more a citizen of Earth than a citizen of Krypton." "And these powers you have, are they normal for your people?" "Not exactly. You see, my power comes from this galaxy's sun. The hotter the sun, the more my powers manifest. Krypton had a red sun, so I'd say every Kryptonian would just be like any human here on Krypton. What exactly are all your powers? Well, there's probably a few I haven't even discovered yet, but let's see. I can fly, use heat vision, breathe underwater, super strength, super speed, X ray vision. That sounds like a good power to have, if you catch my drift. No, I don't use it for that, I'm afraid. Finally, a man that uses what he's got for good. Superman and Lois laugh at that. Why do you do what you do? Are you asking why I save people? Yes. Because I have all these gifts I've been given, and I'd rather use them to do some good than use them for my own personal gain. My parents, my earthly parents, that is, always thought I was brought here for a reason. I wondered my whole life why I was the way I was and what it meant. But I know now that my real parents sent me here to bring hope to the people of Earth. And if that's their final wish, then I will see that it's done. One other thing. What's with the tights? Superman laughs. This is the garb of my people. The red underwear was my thing, though. Lois stares at the giant red and yellow S on his chest. And the S? Well, it doesn't mean Superman if that's what you were thinking. That's what the Daily Planet started calling me. No, it's not an S. It's my family's crest. The House of L. L like the letter L? Actually, it's E-L. My name is Kal-El of the House of L. Well, the S just looks like an S to me. What is it exactly? It's hope. The House of L's crest means hope. That's very poetic. So you're here to bring hope to us all. I think you've done a good job so far. Thanks, Lois. Now, is there anything else you want to know about me? Lois looks down at her notepad at all her scribbles. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff here, but I really want to be able to see the world through your eyes. Then let's make that happen. Superman extends an arm to Lois. What are you doing? Showing you the world through my eyes. And just like that, Lois steps on top of Superman's boots as they are lifted into the air. Lois looks down at the Daily Planet. As the Daily Planet gets smaller and smaller down below, Lois looks at Superman. Maybe this is a bad time to say, I'm scared of heights. Superman simply chuckles. Sky above Metropolis, late evening. Superman and Lois fly up high above Metropolis, looking at the beautiful array of lights down below. The land stretches for miles and miles in either direction. It's all so peaceful from up here. You can see everything. I love it up here. At night, when the rest of the world is asleep, I sometimes sit up here and listen. To what? Everything and everyone. I hear their thoughts and dreams, and also the people's pleas for help, all across the world. Everyone is in need of help somewhere, and I'll be there to protect them. The world needs a Superman, but you can't save everybody. No one can. But I can try my best. You're a good man, Superman. Daily Planet rooftop night. Superman and Lois touch down back on the ground. She steps down off his boots and turns away, smiling. Well, that sure was something. I hope you've learned a little bit more about me now. Lois turns back and steps closer to Superman. I never thought an alien would feel so human. Superman and Lois lean in for a kiss. As they kiss, she breathes. Clark? Whispering to herself. She lets go. I'm sorry. Is something wrong? Asks Superman. No, you just reminded me of someone else. Then Lois looks at something right behind Superman's head. Oh my god. Superman turns and sees smoke rising from the LexCorp building. Superman turns back to Lois. Got to go. Good night, Lois. And with that, Superman flies off toward the smoking LexCorp building as Lois watches helplessly. Alright. So this is kind of my rendition of the iconic Lois and Superman scene where she does the interview. Um, I like this scene a lot. Honestly, if I wanted to, I could kind of see myself expanding this a little bit farther. Just because I like the banter between these two characters, but I like learning more about Superman and how he feels as a character. We are starting to definitely understand him a little bit more, and Lois is finally getting to understand him as well. And I like her just being able to learn about him. I like the stuff like, the red underwear was his idea. Um, just because I think that's funny because, people always talk about the red underwear, and I'm like, the red underwear, it's quintessential Superman in my eyes. But, yeah, I like the scene, and also the part where she steps up on like his boots and flies up into the air. That's kind of my nod to Superman Returns. One of my favorite scenes in that movie is when Superman and Lois are out on top of the Daily Planet, and they fly up into the sky, and Lois is on his boots, and they fly up straight. And I just really love that image, and I love this idea that Superman is listening in on people's thoughts and dreams and hears people's pleas for help, and he wants to protect everybody, but he knows he can't save everybody, but he's going to try his best. And I'm like, to me, that's Superman. Like, that's one of the biggest dilemmas. Like, he can try to save everybody, but he's not going to ultimately be able to. And then we get set up for something that's going on at LexCorp, which we will go to now. LexCorp, night. Superman drops down on the landing pad outside LexCorp lab with great force. Dust flies everywhere. Superman walks into the burning inferno inside the lab where fire and smoke abound. Tables and electrical wires are thrown everywhere as they spark. Superman looks around the area and uses his X-ray vision to examine the whole area. He focuses over near the newly rebuilt gateway to the universe and sees a body laying underneath some rubble. He walks over to the gateway and sees it fully functioning and opened up. A sea of stars in front of him. He rushes over to a piece of debris and lifts it up to reveal a dusty and bleeding Luthor. Luthor looks up surprised. Superman, you're here. Superman looks at him with an extremely frustrated and angry look. What have you done? I'm sorry. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I was wrong. Luthor coughs at the ash swirling around. He stands up. What did you do? What I thought needed to happen. You were right. I can't control them, even if I tried. Who's they? Luthor coughs some more and points behind Superman. Superman turns around, and from the flames appear Kryptonians in strange suits. Superman watches them and backs away as if ready for a possible fight. One of the masked Kryptonian soldiers steps forward by the name of Vanguard. Well, you look just like him. Superman looks back at Lex in anger. You truly are the son of Jor-El. Vanguard lifts his helmet off his head, which reveals an older man still in his prime, bearded and strong. Who are you? I am Vanguard, and we, like you, are the last survivors of Krypton. We thought Krypton was gone, but here it lives. If it wasn't for the human, we may have never found you. I know why you're here, and it's not to reunite with me. Whatever do you mean? Vanguard studies Superman with a twisted smile. How can you stand to live amongst such pathetic creatures? That one there thought he could get us to work for him. I don't work for lesser beings. Vanguard points to Luthor. What are you going to do? You are the son of Jor-El. I have no qualm with you. But this planet, I feel my strength increasing as we speak. My comrades and I believe your Earth will make for a perfect colony whereupon we can rebuild Krypton anew. No. Vanguard and the other Kryptonians look at one another. Vanguard turns back to Superman. No. You can't mean you actually care for these people, do you? You're more. They're more my people than you are. Vanguard laughs at him. Do you know who you are? Or do you know who we are, boy? We are conquerors. We take what is ours and give back nothing in return. Krypton is dead. Whatever you were before doesn't matter now. Earth is my home, and I will not let you destroy it or have you use it for your own needs. You expect us to traverse the known universe forever? I expect you to turn around and leave Earth alone. Who are you to speak to me with such gall? I am Kal-El, son of Jor and Lara of the House of El, defender of Earth, and I will not let you use her for our own personal gain, or for your own personal gain. Very well. We'll just add you to the body pile after everything is said and done. We have searched far and wide to find a new home, and we will not have some pompous boy get in our way. You may be Jor-El's blood, but you are not him. He wouldn't stand for this. You're right. That's why he sent me here to protect the Earth from those who would seek to destroy it. Even you. Vanguard looks at his men and nods. He turns to look at Superman, who watches with a determined face. Then, with force, he jumps in the air, throwing a punch Superman's way. Superman grabs hold of Vanguard's fist with both hands as they scoot across the floor. At that moment, another Kryptonian lifts off and readies a punch to Superman's face. Superman doesn't see it coming and is slung across the room, crashing through equipment and a wall. He lies there, shaking off the pain, and gets back up. He flies forward when a big hulking Kryptonian grabs hold of Superman's cape and begins slinging him and around and around, and finally releases him, causing him to fly through the air, through some glass and into the night air. Superman watches the fiery inferno at the top of LexCorp as he hears sirens blare down below. Fire trucks make their way towards the burning building. LexCorp night. The fire trucks and police cars all stop as firefighters jump out of their trucks and look up to the inferno high above. The police chief is there too. How the hell are we going to get up there? Leave it to me, says Superman. Superman stands beside the firefighters and several police officers. I'll put the fire out, but I'm afraid there's some really bad people up there. We'll take them together, Superman, says the police chief. No, it's too dangerous. Have everyone clear the area. I'm afraid things are going to get messy. Superman flies back into the sky. The police chief looks around at policemen and firefighters. You heard what the man said. Clear the area. Lab LexCorp. Superman touches back down and becomes surrounded by the Kryptonians and Vanguard. They walk closer and closer to him. Come to take more punishment? I'm just getting started. At that moment, they all ambush him as Superman has to defend himself against their blows, fending them off in a very impressive 360-degree shot around the burning room. Superman is thrown to the ground, pounded on by the Kryptonians, but he manages to send his own blows and kicks, sending them flying every which way. Superman stumbles, his knees weak as he stares at Vanguard, who hasn't joined the fight just yet. He simply smirks at him. Come at me, son of Jor-El. Superman rages and rushes towards Vanguard, pushing him through fire and debris, punching him in the face as well as the gut, until he ends up on the floor. Get off my planet. It's our planet now, boy, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. At that moment, his eyes light up and he shoots heat vision out of his eyes and fires it on the ceiling above. The ceiling caves in and falls on Superman, crushing him beneath all of it. Vanguard stands up with his men and turns to Superman, lying defeated on the floor. This is just a taste of the destruction we can deal. Tomorrow we begin our assault on Earth and reforge it into our new home. Luthor stumbles through and looks down at Superman and then to Vanguard. Vanguard looks off in the direction of the desk with a shard of kryptonite on the table. We'll let you live. human, if or we'll let you live, human, if you take care of this business for us. You know what to do. We may have our blood, or he may have our blood, but he is not one of us. How do you know I won't just try to kill you? You won't, if you want to live. You have been most helpful to us, and you will be justly rewarded when this is all said and done. They all fly off together, leaving Luthor and Superman alone. Superman finally rises from under the rubble and stands within the burning building. Superman looks around and blows a blast of freeze breath all around to put out the fires. Luthor turns to Superman, and Superman, filled with anger, rushes to him and pins him up against a wall. Do you know what you have done, Luthor? Your antics have brought Earth's destruction. Please listen to me, Superman. I know it looks bad, but no, you brought Kryptonians to Earth. What were you thinking? I thought I could stop them myself, but I was wrong. They overtook me. Well, now you've doomed us. I'm not the alien, Superman. Superman turns to Luthor. You think this is my fault? You brought them here. And for what? To build an army of Supermen? You're blinded by your want for power that you failed to see the result of your actions. The human race is doomed now because of you. I thought I wanted to save the world from itself, but now I realize it needs to be saved from people like you. I don't have time for this, Luthor. Whatever grudge you have against me, it can wait. I have a planet to save. Superman starts to walk outside into the night. Luthor, meanwhile, turns to look at the shard of kryptonite on a desk. He picks it up. Wait, Superman. Luthor walks forward to meet Superman. Superman looks at him, kind of annoyed. What do you want? Just to give you this. Superman jolts as he's stabbed in the side. He looks down at the shard of kryptonite in his side. He looks at Luthor, wide-eyed and in a weakened state. Luthor breaks the shard, leaving a piece of the kryptonite lodged inside. What did you do to me? Superman looks at his wound as blood seeps from the wound. He stumbles to the ground. A present from the old homestead. Radioactive chunks of krypton, harmless to us Earthlings, but when brought in contact with a Kryptonian, it could prove quite deadly. I call it kryptonite. I was going to use it on them, but they saw me coming. You, on the other hand, fell right into it. If I can't destroy them, I'll at least destroy you. Superman turns away from Luthor and stumbles outside and attempts to fly, barely being able to stay in the air as he flies away. Luthor watches as Superman attempts to fly away as he looks at the broken piece of kryptonite in his hand. Whew. Okay. This is a lot to unpack. So, in this scene, we have Lex Luthor has done what he planned. He has brought Kryptonians to Earth, and it's a complete disaster. He attempted to bend them to his will using the kryptonite, but they overpowered him, obviously. And now we get introduced to this character, Vanguard, and his men. Vanguard is not a well-known character within DC Comics. He's a character that, as far as I know, is only introduced in Superman Birthright, and he's just kind of a figurehead. He's not really the main antagonist or anything. There's really nothing to him. So I was like, well, I'd like to have this character that's kind of like a proto General Zod. That's not exactly General Zod, but is similar enough to him. And he's this guy that's been hunting for a new home for Kryptonians. And he respects Superman at first because he's the son of Jor-El, and he has a lot of respect for Jor-El. But then, obviously, Superman wants to save the people, and he's like, well, you're just going to get in our way, so we're going to fight you. And so we have this big, giant action scene of Kryptonians fighting each other. It's supposed to be messy, fun, and then, obviously, they get the upper hand. Then we have this scene where Vanguard's like, Luthor, you can kill Superman if you want. You attempted to kill us, but, you can kill him. And Luthor actually takes that chance, and there's this big spiel between Superman and Luthor. Luthor is obviously losing his mind because, he's just, in his eyes, trying to do the right thing, but it's just always the wrong thing, and Superman is obviously just furious at him. And then we get this scene of Luthor stabbing him with kryptonite to wound him. And it's just, this is supposed to be kind of the low point of the script at this point. We're, going into the third act at this point. So Superman being stabbed by kryptonite isn't a bad thing. We need him to be in a weakened state so that he can come back into the third act and be, rejuvenated and everything. But yeah, I like this stuff here. I will say, though, we are introducing some characters rather late into the story. So really, Vanguard has kind of become our main antagonist for the rest of the script, although he hasn't had a presence throughout the rest of the movie. I guess, that could probably be seen as a problem. But I kind of see Luthor as really the main antagonist of this movie. And then Vanguard just kind of takes the main role in the second half. But continuing on from there. Exterior Kent Farm night. The Kent Farm sits silently in the dark as Superman crashes onto the premises. A dog barks in the distance. Living room, Kent house, night. Superman opens the door, barely able to stand as Jonathan and Martha rush to him with concern. Clark, are you okay? Superman falls to the ground as he points to his wound with the kryptonite lodged inside. Jonathan stands over his son and looks at the wound. Martha, let's get him to a bed. Bedroom, Kent house, night. Superman is burning up in the bed, yelling out in pain as Martha and Jonathan stand over him, doing an emergency medical procedure. Martha grabs hold of the kryptonite shard lodged in her son's side and tries to pull it out as much as she can. Superman yells out in pain. I'm sorry, Clark. She tries again to pull it out and finally pulls it loose from him as he yells out in pain some more and breathes heavily. Martha yells excitedly and places the large piece of kryptonite away from him. Jonathan picks it up and takes it away. Martha hunches over her son and pushes his hair back as Superman passes out. Jonathan comes back in. Is he okay? Yeah, just asleep now. Martha looks over to her son again. What happened to you, Clark? She reaches down and kisses him on the forehead. She and Jonathan leave for him to rest. Kent Farm, morning. The sun begins to rise on the Kent Farm. Bedroom. Clark wakes up and realizes his suit is off of him and he is bandaged up on his side. He rises up slowly and sees his suit lying in a chair by the bed. Clark walks into the kitchen slowly as he stumbles around in an old t-shirt and sweatpants. Martha is busy fixing breakfast when she spots her son and is surprised to see him. I wasn't expecting you to be up yet. Breakfast is almost ready. Clark doesn't know what exactly to think. Living room, Kent house. Clark sits down with Jonathan and Martha with a plate of breakfast in hand. Jonathan is busy watching TV. Thanks, Mom. I guess you two want an explanation. Let's not talk about it. You're safe, and that's what matters. You gave us a right scare there, though. Clark looks at his plate and puts it on the side. I'm not really hungry right now. Clark looks over at Jonathan. Have you guys heard anything yet? Not a word. Is something wrong? I just want you guys to promise me if something happens, you get yourselves to safety as fast as you can. What's going on, son? Jonathan leans over to look his son in the eyes. Clark turns away and looks down as if afraid to tell them what's about to happen. Metropolis, morning. Shot of the city of tomorrow, peaceful and bustling with people. Office, Daily Planet, morning. Jimmy stands over Lois's desk and looks at her, energetic as ever. Hey, did you hear about the big fire at LexCorp last night? I saw the place was smoking last night. Well, I heard someone say after the place burned for quite a while, Superman put out the fire, and when he left, he looked pretty banged up. Left the city, too. He's gone? That's all I know. Lois looks confused, wondering what could have happened. Jimmy, you haven't seen Clark today, have you? Nope. Maybe he's sick. No, he would have called me. Maybe he's just running behind. I'm sure he'll be here soon. Maybe you're right. Jimmy walks away, and suddenly the entirety of the building begins to shake like crazy as people are tossed around. It all stops after a few beats, and people turn to the windows to see what's going on. Perry runs out of his office and looks around everyone. What the hell was that? Is everyone okay? Everyone looks around as if they're all okay. One Daily Planet worker one Daily Planet worker, number 2, looks out the window in awe at something he sees. Perry, you're going to want to see this. Perry rushes over to the window and looks out Perry rushes over to the window and looks out as looks of pure shock form on his face. My God. Metropolis Times Square, morning. Metropolis Times Square rolls with smoke and ash as it clears up into the air. People all around yell and scream and stand in horror as a giant mechanical spider towers over the citizens of the city. At that moment, the screens all throughout Times Square light up as Vanguard stands front and center, smiling at them all in a sinister fashion. People of Earth, I am Commander Vanguard of the planet Krypton. For years you have harbored one of my people, the one you now know as Superman. He is dead. Today will be a great day for the survival of my people as we make Earth our new home and rebuild our fallen planet from your ashes. Some of you may survive, but know that your time as the leaders of Earth is now over. We will start with this very city and will spread all over until everything belongs to us. Living room, Kent House, morning. Clark, Martha, and Jonathan watch the TV closely. Jonathan looks over to his son, very worried. Martha sits with a trembling hand over her mouth. You may try to stop us. You may try to destroy us, but we are impervious to your earthly weapons. There is nothing you can do to stop us. The invasion begins now. Pray to your makers and prepare for a new age. In the end, only the strongest of you will live to see what we have in store. Office, Daily Planet. Lois, Perry, Jimmy, and the rest of the Daily Planet workers watch the big screen TV in the office as Vanguard continues his speech. But I am a merciful ruler. I will allow you to flee for your lives, and from there we will see who the strongest of your species really are. Long live Krypton. The screen turns to static. Everyone begins to panic, look around helplessly, not knowing exactly what to do. Everyone, please stay calm. Calm down. You heard him. Superman's dead and they're going to kill us all. It looks that way, but please, everyone, leave the building. Get to your families if this is it. If this is how we die, let's not have it be here. Go. Everyone gets what they need and rushes out of the room, and they leave the building. Perry looks out the window at the chaos outside, people running down the streets in terror. Lois walks up to Perry. Aren't you coming, Perry? The Daily Planet has been my life for so long, Lois. It has been my life. If I'm going to die, let it be my favorite place in the world. Lois looks at Perry in the eye. Get out of here, kid. I'll be fine. Lois, not knowing what else to say, walks out of the office, leaving Perry alone to look out the window. Living room, Kent House. Superman walks into the living room with his suit as Jonathan and Martha watch him intently. You can't go. You're not fully rested yet. If I don't go, Earth dies. If you go, you might die anyway. That's a risk I'm willing to take. He walks out the door. Kent Farm. Superman stands just outside the house and is about to take off when Jonathan and Martha rush out of the house. "No, wait," says Jonathan. Jonathan rushes to his son and grabs hold of the collar of the suit in tears. "Don't go. You once told me the day would come when I'd have to make a decision of what to do with my life. Today is that day, and I'm made my decision. Love you guys. I couldn't have been raised by two better people. You're my son. You're my son. And you'll always be my father." The three embrace with one another. "Now you have to let me go." Superman steps away and smiles at his family for what might be the last time. "Goodbye." Superman flies up into the sky, above the clouds. The music swells as Superman flies up, bathing in the light of the sun, replenishing himself as his strength returns to him. He is ready and blasts off to save the world. Alright, so this is kind of like the dark night of the soul moment where all is lost. Basically, what we got here, we've got this scene. Superman, obviously, the first place he thinks to go to now that he's wounded is his parents' house. And luckily, Martha and Jonathan are there to help get the kryptonite out. And luckily, Superman is sort of revived by the next morning. But I like this scene of like Martha having to perform surgery on her son. I don't know. I just like that image. And then we get to the Daily Planet where things start going down. We see this giant mechanical spider. Now, this giant mechanical spider is both a reference to the mechanical spider, giant spider that was going to be in the Superman Lives movie, but also there's this giant machine spider thing that's in Superman Birthright that they use when they invade Metropolis. So it's kind of a nod to that. And also Vanguard's speech. Vanguard gets on the TV screens and everything and projects himself to the people of Earth, telling him what they're about to do. And like, I wanted this really haunting, like threatening speech of his, and I think it works rather well. But what I think also works rather well is Perry getting all these people out of the Daily Planet. And Perry's one of those people that he's kind of like the captain of the ship. He's going to go down with the ship, so he's telling everybody to leave and go home to their families while he stays with the place that he's been with all his life, his favorite place in the world, as he tells Lois to leave. And I just think that's really nice and fitting with the character that I've created for this script. And then we get the scene of Superman finally putting on his suit and everything and ready to go out. And then Jonathan, not Martha, is the one that cries this time. I like this part where he says, "You're my son. You're my son," which is a callback to earlier in the script with when Clark says, "I'm your son. I'm your son." And I think that's just a great way of like the son becoming the father's son, sort of something that was brought up in Superman the movie, obviously. But I think it works thematically here. But my favorite little thing, though, comes up with the scene here where Superman goes above the clouds and the music swells, bathing in the light and replenishing himself. My favorite scene in Superman Returns is after he's been wounded. He goes up into the sky, bathes in the light, and that beautiful orchestral score plays. That's just amazing. It's one of my favorite Superman moments ever. And also, it's a nice reference to Man of Steel, like when Superman destroys the world engine. Um, he looks out to the sun and like has his hand outstretched, and I just liked that image, and I think it worked really well for how Superman can be re-entered into the movie for the third act. And speaking of the third act, uh, that's the end of the entirety of the second act. So got 30 some pages left to get through, and so I guess I'll take another break. All right, let's get through this last stretch. Metropolis Times Square day. The people run in fear in every direction, knocking each other over, cowering in fear as the giant mechanical spider slowly moves throughout the city. The 12 or so Kryptonians stand atop the mechanical creature's head, with Vanguard looking down at the city. They are completely losing their minds. We should just kill them all. No, I'm a man of my word. Let them scramble in fear. He laughs as the people below running away like ants from the towering behemoth. Patience, all of you. I'll be sure you all have your little dose of fun soon enough. At that moment, above the city of Metropolis, Superman with renewed energy flies through and stops to see the smoking city and the giant mechanical spider walking through it, shaking down buildings as it moves through. On ground level, the people still run for safety as some people turn to look up in the sky at the flowing cape of Superman. Shouts of Superman and "We're saved" fill the streets as they all point and look up at the skies. Daily Planet day. Lois and Jimmy together look up at the sky and see the Man of Steel alive and well. "Come on, Miss Lane. Superman's here. He's got this." Jimmy pulls on Lois as he ushers her farther away from Ground Zero. Office, Daily Planet. From his window, Perry watches as Superman stands in the sky above him. He looks so happy he could cry. Metropolis, Times Square. Superman looks down at the giant mechanical spider, and the Kryptonians astride it. On the spider, the Kryptonians look at each other with confusion written on their faces. "I thought the human killed him. What's he doing here?" "No matter. He may be strong, but we're stronger. Continue as planned. Let's end this here, Vanguard. I won't allow you to destroy any more than you already have. Stop the invasion now, or I will be forced to do everything in my power to stop you. You're supposed to be dead, and I don't take orders from dead men and boss Kryptonians. I will lay waste to this miserable excuse of a city, and you can try as you will, but you will fail. We'll see about that. Disperse," Vanguard says to the Kryptonians. The Kryptonians fly away in different directions as Superman is left to face Vanguard atop the giant mechanical spider. Superman flies around, dodging the spider's attacks as it shoots lasers from its mouth. Superman dances in the air, avoiding them. He flies around the spider as it shifts around, shaking the very ground around it as the people continue to flee from the area. Superman shoots it with a blast of his own heat vision. It doesn't seem to do much, only nicking the surface. Superman flies underneath the spider and zigzags through its long legs and uses his X-ray vision to see through the metal plating of the machine. Superman finds a vulnerable spot in the joints of the machine and smiles at his find. Bingo. Downtown Metropolis. One of the Kryptonians flies above the people as they cower and run away. They fire at the crowd with their heat vision, zapping at them as they dodge to get out of the way or fall victim to the blasts. Another one of the Kryptonians grabs a huge van and tosses it at a group of people as it explodes into a ball of fire. One of the other Kryptonians stands around the towering buildings and smirks at the crowd. They clap their hands together, and the glass from the city's skyscrapers in the area shatter and fall on the crowds of people. Also, below on the ground stands Mercy, who looks up at the LexCorp building and its damaged upper half. She takes this chance and runs the opposite way of everyone else and into the thick of the destruction. Metropolis, Times Square. Superman flies beneath the behemoth spider as it fires onto the crowds of people fleeing as it stomps on the ground, knocking over buildings. Superman uses his heat vision on the joints one of the spider's legs and breaks through it. He grabs hold of the wiring in the joints and begins to rip them apart. One moment the giant spider is standing upright, and suddenly it stutters as the weight of one side collapses in on itself. Atop the mechanical spider, Vanguard tries to make sense as to what's going on. What's happening? What are you doing? Superman manages to snap the robotic limb from the spider as it shrieks as if in some kind of pain. The spider tilts over and collapses, falling to the ground, causing a whirlwind of smoke and ash as Vanguard is flung from the top of it and to the ground. Superman grabs hold of the robotic limb through the smoke. Vanguard sees what Superman has planned. He reaches out his hand. No! Superman takes the heavy limb in his arms and thrusts it into the mechanical spider's chest, breaking through the armor until he pushes it so far in it comes out the other side, piercing it. Superman, with all the strength he can muster, lifts the mechanical spider above the city of Metropolis, away from all the destruction, and sends it up high, high in the air. Vanguard watches annoyed as he punches the earth around him as his plan begins to be foiled. Space. Superman lifts the giant machine from Earth's orbit and into the far reaches of space. He shoves the limb farther inside the spider as the eyes on it begin to rapidly blink red. Superman shoves it as far away as he can as the giant behemoth floats away through before finally emitting a massive explosion that sends shockwaves across the galaxy. Superman watches it get completely obliterated as he smiles and zooms quickly back to Earth to save the rest of Metropolis. Sky above Metropolis. Superman flies back down to Metropolis. The people who watched him let the giant machine cheer and shout his name. Superman continues to fly back down towards Times Square to confront Vanguard. Superman lands down hard and the dust rises as he and Vanguard look at each other eye to eye. You're supposed to be dead. I commanded the Earthling to kill you. Sorry to disappoint. You might have destroyed our war machine, but no matter. You are still just one man and we are many. You can't hope to save them all, son of Jor-El. So many have already died by my hand. And I will save all I can, and then I'll deal with you. Vanguard is impressed by Superman's will to keep fighting. Such spirit. Fine. You can try, but I promise you, for every person you save, we will kill 10 times as many. Not if I have anything to say about it. Look for yourself. Superman turns around to see the destruction of the city. The Kryptonians fly around, burning, terrorizing, destroying everything they see. Superman, knowing he is needed, flies off to save the day. So basically I'll stop here just to give a little break from the reading, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. How I planned this entire battle, I basically broke it up into a few phases so that I knew what was happening at each point. I knew the first thing that Superman needed to do was destroy this big spider thing before he starts saving people and dealing with each of the Kryptonians. I also made sure to show Mercy looking at LexCorp building as she's going to go that way because she's going to be involved in the final action beats of this battle. Lab, LexCorp, day. Luthor watches from atop the destroyed lab at all the destruction down below. He looks with a look filled with regret. Finally, Mercy walks into the room and sees Luthor watching the war zone below. Admiring your handiwork, Luthor turns around and looks surprised. Mercy, I promise you I didn't know it was going to end up like this. Yes, you did. Superman warned you, and instead of taking his advice, you tried to prove him wrong as some sort of twisted revenge. Now look what you've caused. They're not going to kill everyone, just the weakest. Is that what they said? I bet there's thousands of people down there now stronger than you, and they're dying while you're up here safe. We can't do anything. Not even Superman can. I was wrong, Mercy. You can't control what you can't, or you can't control what can't be controlled. There has to be a way to stop all this. You're supposed to be a genius. Now come up with something. Luthor ponders for a moment. He looks over at the gateway to the universe. There might be a way to recalibrate the gateway so it can suck whatever it is in its way to the other side, but the core is too heavily damaged from last night. It wouldn't be able to last very long, just a minute or two at most, and it's worth a shot. Can you do it? I could try. And just like that, Luthor and Mercy get to work. So, now I've brought Luthor into the final act. He's going to be playing a very important role. We understand now how they are probably going to be getting rid of these Kryptonians by possibly sending them back through the portal where they came from. Downtown Metropolis. Lois and Jimmy run through the streets of the city with everyone else as blasts of energy, smoke, and flame rip through the streets as the Kryptonians terrorize everyone they see. They try running in one direction, but they come to a complete stop as one Kryptonian rampages through the streets, jumping around and tossing vehicles around, exploding in balls of fire. Jimmy guides Lois away from that chaos as they turn down a long alleyway in hopes of finding some safety. They make their way through the alleyway onto another street as people run away. They look up to see one of the Kryptonians using their heat vision to attack the civilians. At that moment, Superman flies out of the sky and behind the Kryptonian, grabbing hold of them as they both ram into the side of a building. Jimmy and Lois take their moment to flee from the scene. Superman punches the Kryptonian lodged in the side of the building as they climb out of the wreckage and get in a fist fight with each other. They dart around at top speeds, fighting in the sky as they shoot at each other with blasts of heat vision, causing a blinding light and a blast of energy everywhere. The Kryptonian lies on the ground, weak from the blast, and falls back down to rest as Superman breathes heavily and goes to fight someone else. A destroyed street. One of the Kryptonians is kicking around cars, sending them flying into buildings and crowds of people. He kicks one more as they laugh. It flies at a group of people who cower in fear at their imminent deaths, but they are saved at the last minute as Superman grabs hold of the flying car just in the nick of time. The Kryptonian laughs some more, and then the car is flung right back in his direction, and he is tossed with it as it makes contact and explodes. Superman smiles at his work. The Kryptonian rises from the destruction, pops his neck, and darts towards Superman. Superman does the same. They meet in the middle of the street and collide, Superman holding back the monstrous Kryptonian's attack. They take part in a fist fight, landing punches left and right, dodging. The Kryptonian manages to grab hold of Superman's cape and slings him up and down violently on the ground. Superman shakes it off and gets up. He looks at the huge Kryptonian and just smiles. Come on, I could do this all day. Superman throws some punches at the Kryptonian and sends an uppercut his way as the Kryptonian is sent into the sky and comes back down to Earth, crashing, landing, and unconscious. Superman breathes heavily, finally having his victory, and backs away from the fight. He goes in for a bit of a jog before taking off and flying to deal with someone else. Crowded street. People are cramped like sardines as they continue running through the city to find safety. Among the people running are the mother and little boy from earlier in Act 1. The mother keeps tight on the little boy's hand as they rush through, but soon there is an explosion and the two become separated. The boy looks around and screams. He looks terrified. Mommy, mommy. People pass by, not even paying attention to the little boy where somewhere far away from him the mother is looking around desperately looking for her son. Aaron, Aaron, where are you? She looks around at the people trying to run away. Have you seen my son? Please, have you seen him? The little boy stands there crying and looking around at all the destruction around him. He freezes up, not knowing what to do. Need some help? Superman scoops the little boy off the ground and flies him above the crowd. The little boy looks at Superman amazed. Superman! Now, let's get you back to your mother. Superman listens closely as he uses his super hearing to pick out the cries of the mother of the little boy. Aaron! Aaron! Cries the mother of the little boy. Superman flies off and soon finds the little boy's mother and lands down near her. She embraces her son in her arms. Bless you, Superman. Bless you, she says in tears. It was nothing, ma'am. Now, get your son and yourself to safety. They nod and run off together, this time the mother carrying her son. Superman smiles after rescuing the boy, and then a loud sound reaches his ears. Superman, this is Mercy. I need to see you at the LexCorp lab. Please, it's urgent. Superman flies up into the sky and heads that way. Alright, so there's a lot of action going on here. It's a lot of nauseating, crazy action that I think the third act kind of needs, since we've had bursts of action throughout, and this is kind of like the big climax. It's really messy and everything, but I kind of like how chaotic the third act sort of is, because this whole invasion is going on. But I also like that we get reintroduced to the little boy and his mother from earlier in the first act. This is the same little boy that saw Clark on the train heading to Metropolis. And I wanted to bring this boy back just because of that little connection here and to tie the two acts together. And I thought it would be a nice idea of Superman actually finally saving this boy. So, and also, at this point, we're getting Mercy as contacting Superman to bring him back to LexCorp and setting up the final stages of the third act. Lab, LexCorp. Superman darts down into the destroyed lab where he finds Mercy, and of all people, Luthor, working on the gateway to the universe machine. What's going on here? Superman looks closely at Luthor in particular, not trusting him. We're trying to save the world, Superman. Mercy walks up to Superman. We need your help. We think we have a way to stop this invasion. How so? If we can reprogram the gateway, we should be able to create a vacuum right into space, sending them far from here. And where to exactly? Krypton. The radiation from its remains should be enough to wipe them all out. And you need me to bring them here? Yes, but this won't be easy. The machine is unstable. It will only hold for a short while before collapsing in on itself. Well, it's worth a try. Superman looks over at Luthor. Can we trust him? Don't worry about Lex. He's making up for his mistakes now. Just make sure they're all in this room, and I'll turn the machine on. All you have to do is hold on so you're not sucked in with them. Sounds like a plan. When can we start? The gateway is still charging, but when it's ready, we'll call you again. Come on, Mercy. I can't do this all by myself. Good. I'll hold them off as long as I can. Superman is about to fly off. Good luck. You too. And just like that, he flies off to get back into the fight and save the people of the city. I like this whole idea that Lex Luthor, Superman, and Mercy are working together, as Lex Luthor and Superman are obviously, antagonistic towards each other, and Superman is dealing with the problem that Lex Luthor caused, but Lex Luthor is trying to make up for that in this moment by saving the world. Perry's office, Daily Planet. Perry stands around his office as the building trembles and shakes around him. He looks at all the awards given to the Daily Planet through the years and smiles at the long years of success. He walks behind his desk and fixes himself a glass of bourbon to drink. He takes the glass and bottle over to his desk and sits down in silent contemplation. He takes a drink of the bourbon and sits there thinking hard for a beat. "What am I doing?" he asks. He gets up and finally leaves the room, leaving the glass and bottle behind. Daily Planet. Perry walks out of the Daily Planet building into the nearly empty streets with only a few stragglers running away. He looks around at all the destruction and runs away from the building to try to get to safety as the area around him burns. So I like this little moment between Perry, because Perry decided to stay around and he's kind of accepted that, he might die here. And so he's going to have that last drink and he's going to look at all the awards that the Daily Planet has done. It's kind of like I think of like these final moments of like some of like the people like on the Titanic or, something like that where there's this tragic event, but somebody is just taking it all in, knowing it's all hopeless and everything, and just accept it. But Perry decides to take action and try to go to safety. Rooftop. Vanguard watches from atop a rooftop of one of the taller buildings of Metropolis and looks at the smoke rising from the city as parts of it smolder. He is greeted by several other Kryptonians. The city is almost ours. The people are fleeing. I say we keep toying with them and blow it up into Kingdom Come. We have no use for their cities. We can build our own. Where is the son of Jor-El? He's out there, saving the city. He's a fool. He can't possibly save all of it, and soon he won't be able to save any of it. Streets of Metropolis. Superman flies through the streets, covered in debris and flame, and begins to blow at the flames, extinguishing them one at a time until they fade away. Superman flies down as he finds men, women, and children underneath a pile of wreckage. He lifts the wreckage and allows those who can get out. They rush by him and thank him as he lets go and the wreckage comes back down. Rooftop. Vanguard continues looking down at the city with the other Kryptonians and laughs. That is his weakness. He cares for these people. He actually cares for them. What do you want to do, Commander? Strike at what he cares about most. And with that, the Kryptonians fly off to do just that as Vanguard stands watch. Dead end. Jimmy and Lois make it through to another street as they run down it with dozens of other people. They finally come to a huge group of people that don't seem to be moving anywhere. Lois looks standing on tiptoes, trying to figure out why everyone has stopped. At that moment, the Kryptonians fire at the buildings on the other side, causing them to collapse and blocking them in. Then all the other Kryptonians fly up in the sky, look down at the tiny humans below. Finally, they start to fire with their heat vision down at the people below as they all run for cover. Lois and Jimmy run together through the streets, searching for a way out by going down another street to the side. They try their best to stick together and make their way onto a smaller street. Lois leads the way, and Jimmy is knocked out as a piece of debris falls on him, leaving a bloody mark on his head. Lois turns to Jimmy. Jimmy! She tries to wake him up, but there's no response from him at all. Back with the Kryptonians, they fire at the scrabbling civilians. Some more when a giant bus is thrown their way out of nowhere and sends them flying. Superman arrives on the scene and flies down to the debris blocking their way. Stand back! He shoots through the debris, leaving a place for the people to escape. Everyone starts to rush through to find what safety they can. One of the people that passes by Superman is Perry, who smiles and nods to him with a notion of thanks. "Superman, help!" says Lois off screen. Superman hears the cry for help and flies off to find where it's coming from. Superman finds Lois and the unconscious Jimmy on a side street. Superman takes a look at Jimmy and scans over his body with his X-ray vision. He looks to be okay, just knocked out. Superman looks at Lois, concerned. "Are you okay, Lois?" "Well, I could be better." Superman smirks. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to save the world. Please, get yourself out of here. I can only hold them off for so long." Superman is about to fly off. "Wait!" Superman turns back to Lois as she rushes over to him. She kisses him. "For luck." "Thanks." "You're welcome, Clark." Superman looks at her, taken aback. "Those glasses of yours might fool most people, but not me." "Get out of here, Lois. If I die, you won't. You can't. But if I do, I want you to know I love you too." Superman smiles at Lois and finally lifts off into the air to make his final stand. I really like this moment between Superman and Lois. The realization that she obviously knows who he is because those glasses aren't fooling everybody. But I just like that little moment between them. And I hate that I had to knock out Jimmy, but, Jimmy can't know that Superman and Clark are the same person. I also like this realization that Vanguard is like, he clearly cares for these people, so we're going to strike at the people he cares about and everything. I don't know. I just kind of like it, and again, it's kind of this phase where Superman fights the spider creature, he fights the Kryptonians, and now he's saving people. That's basically the three sections of this third act. That's just crazy, balls out crazy. We'll continue on. Rooftop day. Superman flies up to the rooftop of the building where Vanguard and the other Kryptonians stand waiting for him. Superman crosses his arms as he floats in the air. "Well done, son of Jor-El. At every turn you find a way to surprise me. Give this up, Vanguard. You're not going to win. That's what you think. Tell me, how have you been able to live all this time with such weak creatures? They're not weak. They're stronger than you give them credit for. They don't have what you had on Krypton, but they have grown and changed through the centuries, and they will continue to grow. They are good people, and two of those good people raised me to be who I am today. I would have shown you mercy, but I will ensure Krypton's survival, and to do that, I will have to destroy you. Get him." Two fly after Superman, and then two more and two more after that, until they all swarm him. Superman flies through the air, dodging their advances as much as he can, and punches several of them as well. Vanguard joins the fight and looks at Superman with a frustrated look. "Leave him! He's mine. I'll finish it." Vanguard stares at Superman, and finally the two clash in the air, throwing punches and kicks at each other as the other blocks. They continue on, getting faster and faster until they stop. Vanguard takes a breather and laughs. "You're getting slow. I was once one of the best fighters on Krypton, and I will not be bested by a boy." Key word there is once. Vanguard yells in anger and rushes at Superman, slamming him back down in the ground in a cloud of dust. Small crater, Metropolis. A small crater has formed in the street that Superman and Vanguard lay in. Vanguard stands over top of Superman and punches him several times in the ground. He's about to punch again, but Superman grabs hold of Vanguard's fist and manages to push him back, causing him to fly back and fall on a car, flattening it. Superman rises up, his suit ripped and torn in several places. Superman awaits for Vanguard to get back up and fight him. He has his fists at the ready. "Superman, we're ready. Bring him in," says Mercy. Superman stands there relieved and smiles as he sees Vanguard raised up and look at him confused. Who was that? Come find out for yourself. With that reply, Superman flies up, and away. Vanguard is left down below as the other Kryptonians fly down beside him. Follow him. See what he has planned. They each and every one dart off into the sky to chase after him. Sky above Metropolis. Superman flies through buildings as the Kryptonians chase after him, hot on his tail. Don't let him go away. Or don't let him get away. Superman looks behind him, trying to get some distance between them. Lab, LexCorp. Mercy is at the computer putting in the coordinates for Krypton and is ready to push the button to initiate the gateway. Luthor walks up to Mercy. Everything's ready. Alright, let's do this. Mercy. I'm sorry for everything. Save it for when this is all over. It's just... You've been a damn good assistant. There, I've said it. Well. I guess Lex Luthor has a heart after all. Superman flies inside the broken down lab and is soon followed by Vanguard and the dozen or more other Kryptonians. All this running just to bring us back here? What do you have ready for us? Your reign on Earth is over, Vanguard. Earth will not bow to Krypton today, nor ever. You're a disgrace. You are not the son of Jor-El. He knew what it meant to be Kryptonian. You dishonor his memory. Whatever my father believed then was not how he believed just before he died. He didn't send me to destroy Earth. He sent me to protect it from those who would seek to destroy it, to live amongst them and guide them, and I will honor his memory by doing just that. Your father was a killer, same as I, and now you will die. Superman looks at Mercy. Push it. Mercy presses the button and nothing happens. She presses the button again. Nothing. What's going on over there? I don't know. It should be working. Mercy looks over at Luthor, who shrugs. Well, whatever was supposed to happen, it won't be a problem now. Vanguard moves forward to have one more fight with Superman. He starts punching as they start to fight. Mercy looks at Luthor, wondering what's going on. Luthor looks around and then he spots a cord that hasn't been plugged in far off from the machine. I've got this. Luthor runs through the wreckage of the room and makes his way toward the cord on the ground. Vanguard sees him out of the corner of his eye. Stop him! One of the Kryptonians darts over to Luthor as he holds the cables in hand. He clicks them together and the Kryptonian goes in for a punch. Kick it! Mercy presses the button again and the portal to Krypton opens up just like a vacuum. The portal begins to suck everything inside it. It starts to suck the Kryptonians and Superman through the portal as well. Luthor watches as the Kryptonian that was about to attack him gets flung into the portal and into space. He takes his chance and holds onto a support beam as it tries to blow him away while Mercy is holding onto the computer desk. What are you doing? Saving the world. With all the strength he can possibly muster, he makes slow steps towards one of the support beams to hold onto it. 1, 2, 3 Kryptonians are sucked into the gateway and out into space. Several of the Kryptonians look at each other as they hold on for dear life. Several more are sucked in. Several try to claw their way away from the machine, but are unsuccessful. Vanguard claws into the ground to stop from falling into the portal. He lays there, holding on for dear life as he watches more of his men get swept away like a vacuum. He tries to move forward and sees Superman looking right at him. His face is filled with anger. Don't try it! Vanguard leaps up off the ground and attempts to fly at Superman to attack him, but before he can land a punch, he is swept into the gateway portal he is swept away into the gateway portal as well and disappears. That's the last of them. Turn the machine off. I can't. It has to collapse in on itself. At that moment, Luthor watches from his position and sees Mercy lift off from the ground. She holds on as tight as she can, but falls loose and starts to get sucked into the gateway. Luthor leaves the safety of his position and goes after her and is about to be sucked in as well. However, Superman manages to grab hold of Luthor to stop him from falling in. "Mercy!" "I forgive you," says Mercy. Luthor could cry as he extends a hand hoping he can reach her, but it is impossible. Mercy screams as she falls into the gateway and shoots out into space, and not soon after that, the portal collapses in on itself and the machine crumbles up. The gateway to the universe is gone. Luthor stands there horrified at the loss. Superman bows his head, mourning the loss as well. Remains of Krypton. The Kryptonians float in space as they near the large shards of kryptonite all around them as they grow pale and lifeless. Some reach for their throats as if they're choking and can't get any air. The kryptonite does the job. Vanguard cries out with a sound no living thing can hear, and then he soon fades away and dies. Interior Lab LexCorp. Luthor stands on his knees in front of the destroyed machine. Superman walks over to him solemnly. He places a hand on Luthor's shoulder. "I'm sorry." Luthor looks down at the ground. "It should have been you." "What?" Luthor gets up and turns around to look at Superman. "You could have saved her and took her place. It happened so fast, there was nothing I could have done." "Sure, you keep telling yourself that." "I saved your life." "Yes, you did, and no doubt you saved millions more, but how many had to die to get us to this point? You brought this upon yourself, Luthor. I told you how dangerous it was, and you didn't listen. And I should have. I should have been protecting the Earth from you and your people. I've now seen the destruction your kind can cause firsthand. I'm not your enemy. You are now. All my life I've wanted to protect the world, and I thought you were the answer. This is man's world, and you have no place in it. If that's how you feel about me, after all you've seen, I'm sorry, but I'm not leaving. Then don't expect any favors from me. You may paint yourself as righteous and good, but you'll always be an outsider, and I will devote my life to stopping you. Have it your way then. I'm sure Mercy wouldn't agree. Mercy's not here anymore. Now get out of here and leave me alone." "As you wish." Superman walks away and turns around. "For what it's worth, you helped me save the world today. Goodbye, Luthor." With that, Superman flies away, leaving Luthor alone to ponder. Voiceover. "Who is Superman?" says Lois Lane. Okay, so basically, this is the big climax and everything. We have the big fight with Superman and all the Kryptonians and Vanguard, and then I like this whole build-up that the machine that was created to send them to Earth is also the one that's going to send them back to Krypton. I'm not going to lie. When I was writing the script, I didn't have this third act planned out very well. And I didn't know how Superman was going to get rid of all of them. And then I just kind of thought of this at the last minute, and it honestly works really well because it's something that's already been introduced into the story, and Mercy also, gets brought back into the story to complete her sort of arc, and Lex Luthor even has an arc where he becomes kind of a good guy for a little bit before, blaming Superman for everything that happened and everything, and he's back to his old ways, of course. But I think, to me personally, throughout the story, Lex Luthor hasn't been exactly the Lex Luthor that we usually know, but by this end, he is the Lex Luthor we all know and love to hate. I think the climax, it works pretty well for what I attempted to do. It's not perfect, but I think it's satisfying enough, and It kind of reminds me of sort of what they did with Man of Steel, where they suck everybody back up into the Phantom Zone. But I liked this idea of them being sucked back to the remains of Krypton, where they're destroyed and killed by the kryptonite from the planet Krypton's remains. And I like this last conversation between Superman and Lex Luthor, and that, Luthor is not going to be his friend or anything, and it sets up this rivalry between them that will maybe continue in more scripts if I write more scripts for this. But then we end on a voiceover by Lois Lane that continues into the next scene. So I'll continue there. Streets of Metropolis, day. Groups of people walk onto the dusty streets of Metropolis and are quickly reunited with their loved ones. Some will say he's an alien, an outsider. For some, a hero, a beacon of hope. Insert image, Luthor on the TV screen, speaking on the news. The headline reads, Luthor, Superman is a danger to us all. But for some, he may be seen as a menace that could destroy the world if he wished. Metropolis. Wide shot of the city of Metropolis, damaged and smoking from the alien invasion. But if that were so, why in the end did he choose to save us? Dissolve to Metropolis, day. The same wide shot as before. Now the city is cleaned up from all the debris and looks the way it should. Shot of the Kent farm. A child born from space and sent to Earth to become the savior of mankind. Living room, Kent house. Jonathan and Martha sit together in the living room, snuggled up together as they watch the news and smile at the good news on the TV about Superman. For years he has walked among us, hidden in plain sight, waiting for his time to make himself known to the world. Arctic. Pan over the frozen Arctic to the mountain holding the Fortress of Solitude. Fortress of Solitude. Clark stands before the projected image of his father, Jor-El, as they speak to one another. As the last survivor of the planet Krypton, he has lived a life unknown of who he really was and what his place in the world would be. But now we know. It's to save us. I did it, Father, says Clark. So you have, my son. It's for moments like these I wish I could wrap you in my arms. It's okay. I know you're proud of me. Now you will never be able to stop. The world is still a dark place filled with villainy and strife, but I know you will be there. I'll protect the Earth for as long as I can because it's my home and there's people here I care about. I will see that they are safe. You're a good man, Kal-El, and your heart is tender. But there will be more trials ahead for you that you will have to face. And you'll be here to guide me through it. Jor-El smiles. I will do what I can, but only you can make it happen. There is still work to be done, but I now know Earth is in capable hands. There's still something I've been wondering about that Vanguard said, says Clark. He told me you were a killer, too. Jor-El says, he is not wrong. As Krypton's chief scientist, I built horrible creations that were used for evil. I loved what I did. It was my purpose in life, but one day I woke up and realized what I was doing was evil. As I saw what my creations could do firsthand, and I swore that day that my son would not inherit my sins. I was not a good man, Kal-El, and I won't pretend to be a good one. No, you're a great one. Clark stares with tears in his eyes. I love you. I love you, Kal-El. My hopes and dreams travel with you. I love you too, Dad. Clark turns away to leave. He turns back. When the day comes, when I'm to face Zod, I'll give him one hell of a fight. I know you will. You said he'll return in 40 years' time? I guess we have 9 more years to prepare. It's not a lot of time, but I'll make it work. Earth's fate is in your hands. No pressure. Clark smirks. Then he turns around and leaves. All right, so I like this whole thing of ending the big battle with Lois Lane's kind of article talking about Superman saving the world and everything, and then followed by this really touching scene, I feel, between Clark and Jor-El. I mean, obviously, this Jor-El can't really feel emotions or anything. He's just a hologram. He isn't really Jor-El. But the conversation between them, especially when Clark, tells his dad that, he loves him, that's pretty great. And also, I like that he calls him dad this time because throughout the whole thing, he's usually been calling him father, but he calls him dad in this moment. Um, and I added some stuff here to set up the whole thing with the fact that General Zod will be coming at some point in the future, in a future Superman sequel that I may or may not write. But just little breadcrumbs here and there to set that all up. Uh, but continuing on, busy street, Metropolis. People go to work, walking down the cramped sidewalk as the city streets are filled with jam packed cars, bumper to bumper. Superman flies by, waving and smiling at everyone as he stops in midair and listens to someone's cries. Superman, help, says a woman crying for help. And just like that, Superman flies off to save the woman from harm. Office Daily Planet Day. Everyone stands around Lois's desk as Jimmy reads from a copy of the Daily Planet. Lois looks completely embarrassed by someone reading her work. So, wherever he may show up, wherever there may be injustice in the world, Superman will not be far away, and maybe with that, we can all sleep a little safer. Jimmy looks down at Lois, who is still embarrassed. Geez, Lois, this is really good. Lois grabs the paper from him. It's far from my best work. Perry walks out of his office reading the paper as well, and he runs directly to Lois. Lois, now that's what I call a damn fine article. More like this, and you'll have the Pulitzer Prize in no time. That's what you said last time, and the time before, and that. Or that's what you said last time, and the time before that, and the time before that. Well, I mean it this time. You said that too. Perry rushes back into his office as Clark walks into work and sets his things down at his desk. What's Perry yelling about now? Oh, just blowing hot air like he usually does. Clark looks at the paper on her desk and smiles. So, Clark, where exactly were you during the whole alien invasion? Clark looks up at Jimmy with a look of confusion on his face. Alien invasion? Am I missing something? Jimmy looks dumbfounded. He's kidding, Jimmy. Clark was exactly where he needed to be. Clark looks at Lois and smiles. I guess you could say that. Well, I'll leave you two lovebirds alone. Jimmy walks away, then Perry walks out of his office again and walks to Clark. Kent, what are you working on? Well, not anything at the moment. Good. I'm reassigning you. You're too good a reporter to be stuck doing sports your whole damn life. Well, what exactly did you have in mind? When you're done chit-chatting, come to my office and we'll talk. Perry walks away. Ooh, look at Clark Kent moving up in the world. Clark looks at Lois and smiles. Hey, are you doing anything on break? I thought maybe we could get something to eat. What were you thinking? How about you meet me up on the roof? Sure. Okay, so I like this scene too with seeing the climax of everybody's stories within the Daily Planet. I specifically like the stuff where Clark does the typical Clark thing of like he's like, "What? Alien invasion? Where?" And then I like that says, Clark was exactly where he needed to be. That's a callback to earlier where Clark during the Lexbot scene, says that, he was at the right place at the right time and everything, and it's a callback to that scene. And but it's just nice seeing these characters. Everything is okay, everything's right in the world. It's a nice kind denouement for the climax of the story, for the resolution, and everything. But exterior Daily Planet rooftop. Lois walks out onto the rooftop of the Daily Planet and looks around. I wasn't, and then there's Superman. I wasn't expecting to see you here, Miss Lane. Lois watches as Superman touches down on the rooftop. I wasn't expecting you to be here either. I thought you'd be busy saving the world. It just so happens I'm on break. Superman extends a hand to Lois and she takes it. Where are we going? Someplace really special. Lois goes with Superman and they take off together and fly away. Exterior Kent Farm day. Superman, with Lois in his arms, touches down on the ground of the Kent farm. He lets Lois down as she looks around at the farm. Where are we? This is where I grew up. He ushers her forward. Come on, let me introduce you to my parents. Superman and Lois stand in front of the door as Martha and Jonathan stand in the doorway and look at Superman and Lois. Mom, Dad, this is Lois. Martha looks surprised and gets in to hug her. Well, it's so nice to meet you. Clark's told us so much about you. It's so nice to meet you too. These are the two that raised me. Or these are the people that raised me. Superman looks at Jonathan and Martha as they smile at him. Well, don't be strangers. Come on in. We were just about to have some lunch. Lois walks inside with Superman, not that far behind her, as the screen door of the house shuts. Then we cut to black, voiceover of Jor-El. He has to, Laura. This is the only way. Voiceover of Laura L. Just let me look at him this one last time. Observatory, Krypton, day. Establish a large observatory set on a hill over the crumbling Kryptonian landscape. Interior observatory, Krypton. Laura L. holds her baby boy in her arms with her husband by her side. Goodbye, my son. We have to start the ship now, or he'll never make it. She kisses the babe's forehead and places him in the ship. The baby begins to whine. Jor-El walks over to a computer and starts the ship. The thrusters kick in. Jor-El looks at a big button he has to press. He hesitates in this moment, then finally presses it, hating that he has to. The ship finally kicks off and flies through the hole into the ceiling and leaves the planet behind. Jor-El walks over to hold his wife in his arms. He's safe now. He'll be on Earth soon. I fear for him. Just a baby, alone in the world. He'll never be alone. Suddenly, the room begins to rumble and shake around them. Jor-El holds his wife close as the observatory collapses around them. They take this moment to share a final kiss as their world dies around them. We then pull in closer to Jor-El's chest, where he wears the House of L's crest proudly. Hope remains. Cut to black. Okay, so I originally ended this script with the Kent farm scene. I thought it was just a nice, simple way of ending it, and I liked the final shot of kind of the screen door shutting on the Kent farm. I liked the idea of Lois being introduced to Martha and Jonathan, who Jonathan obviously doesn't die in this story, to kind of continue on with the whole thing of like Superman Birthright. Jonathan doesn't die in that. But then I decided when there was some scenes I wanted to add back in, or add entirely, I thought of bringing in this flashback to Jor-El and Laura as they're putting Superman in the ship to take off. I thought it was a great kind of emotional way to end the script, as well as it mirrors the beginning of the script where we see Superman's ship take off from Krypton. Now we see the before of that, and we see the pull in on the chest, the crest of the House of L, and Hope Remains, which is this theme that's been throughout this whole thing, that, Superman is going to bring hope to the people of Earth. And so hope remains because Superman survives. Then we cut to black, end credits. The end credits play over a heroic tune. Then we get a mid-credits scene. Luthor is busy working at his desk, littered with newspaper articles about Superman. He places a shard of kryptonite inside a small construct. He takes it over to something he's working on. He places it inside his work and backs away from it to look at his handiwork. It looks to be a metal suit, skeletal in nature, teasing the supervillain Metallo. Post-credits scene. Shot of a TV screen playing footage of Superman saving Metropolis from the Kryptonians. We slowly pull away from the TV as it switches to a reporter talking about the events of that day. "Master Wayne, dinner is ready," says Alfred off screen. Reveal of Bruce Wayne sitting in a chair, watching the TV. Alfred stands behind him in the background, waiting for his answer. "I'll be right there." Lightning flashes, revealing to us the silhouette of the Batman in Bruce's place before returning back to Bruce as he gets up to eat dinner. The end. And so those two little credit scenes that I wanted tease a Superman sequel and a introduction of Batman into this larger universe that I have planned. So I had this idea that Metallo will probably be the villain of the next Superman movie, and that Lex Luthor will have some involvement in the creation of Metallo, and then obviously just setting up that Batman is in the universe. And I thought that was a fun way to tease people and just be really fun. But that is the end of this Superman script. Superman Expanded Edition. It's 126 pages from an original 121 pages if you count the end credit stuff. So, it's not that much longer. It's not really an expanded edition, but there's stuff that I liked that I wanted to add back in. And honestly, there is some stuff that I could probably add more to, like beef up some of the more emotional scenes that are kind of a little too quick. But overall, this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed me reading through this. I stumbled a little bit along the way. And those of you that have listened to all my commentary, why I made certain decisions I did, I hope this was entertaining for you. I hope you learned something from this. It's just really interesting talking about the writing process and how you deal with character development, character arcs, and dealing with how to structure a screenplay, because I worked heavily to make sure that everything was even in the script, that every sequence was an equal amount of pages, and that, it just flowed as well as it possibly could. And overall, there's still some spelling mistakes here and there. There's still some plot conveniences or some plot holes. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what I wrote here. I like some of the dialogue that I still think really does hold up. I like the characters, specifically. Honestly, my biggest takeaway from this is that Lois Lane is probably the best character in this script. And that's really great because I'm not the best at writing female characters just because I haven't had a lot of practice doing it. But I'd like to write more female characters in the future. But yeah, I again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I'm not just doing this and blowing hot air, but this was honestly a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing my Star Wars script, reading that, but it's really different when you're talking about the entirety of the script and why you made the decisions you did. But basically that's all I got for you guys. So I'm gonna upload this really long video. Probably gonna be taking a little while, but I'm going to try to put some markers throughout it to for those of you that maybe don't want to listen to all my commentary and just want to listen to the script. But I mean, also if you want to read the script, you can obviously just read it on the screen, if it's big enough. I'm not sure what it'll look like on the computer screen. But anyway, guys, that's all I got for you. This has been quite a couple of hours. I'm gonna get off of here, rest my voice, drink some water, and go to bed. So anyway, thank you guys. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.